Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Crazy.
Oh man, that's gonna show my triple chins. Hey, I earned it right.
We'll Photoshop that.
I earned my chins at this point in my life.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Woo! All right.
So it's going to be heavy. Our guest this week is a musician, a writer, an artist, and surfer. He founded Epic Clothing in the 80s, and he later worked at OP as a graphic designer. He's had multiple bands throughout his life, including El Centro and Uprising. He toured the Warped Tour. He had his song appear on CSI Miami. But his life forever changed on October 12, 2002, when he lost his best friend, Steve Weber, R.I.P.
Webster.
Webster.
Get it right, bro.
Steve Webster.
You can't mess that one
Yeah.
right. That's an important one.
And he had a horrific suffering of major, head trauma, broken bones, burns across his body, loss of hearing, and he was a warrior. Teeth, he lost his teeth, and he fought to try to save his friend's life, and he was not only heroic to save his own, but countless others as he made a way through the rubble to save other people too. It's intense, man. I can't wait to hear it. But more importantly, we want to showcase all of his talents, including music and art and writing and surfing, how he's inspiring others and putting out positivity. And we welcome Steve Crabby Kabler.
You got that name right.
Yeah. Dude. So, before we get into everything, we were just talking a little bit about the bombing, on the pre-show, and I was there, and I would have been in your shoes or right next to you if it was an hour later, guaranteed.
Life would have been totally different.
And for some reason we weren't, and we'll talk about that. But hey, we're stoked you're here and sharing positive vibes and
Positive vibrations.
and putting out killer music and art. And I heard you're an incredible writer. So
All right, but let's start at the beginning. Where did Crabby grow up and find surfing?
I grew up in Fountain Valley, California, and I'll never forget my biggest influences were, I don't know if you guys remember, Mike Purpose and David Nueva. I remember I was on Huntington Pier, walking on Huntington Pier, and there was a contest. Remember back they had the big Wide World of Sports contests and stuff like that. And I remember seeing David Nueva and Mike Purpose with their boas and their big feathers. They looked like pimps, and all the girls in bathing suits. And I was like, I started surfing in 1970, I believe, right around 1970. But I was like, I got to do that. I got to do
Those
that.
guys are cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
larger than life.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we found our way Brookhurst Street. Well, I grew up on Brookhurst in Edinger, and so Brookhurst Street was like, I didn't realize, but it's one of the heaviest, best beach breaks in California. It really,
when it's
look
on.
at it. So I grew up. I sprouted my teeth surfing river jetty. Riding the tube and doing that. And back then we had I had like a beaver tail. I'd be out there freezing, and I'd have a board taped together, broken in half. Leash, you'd use a rope or whatever. But yeah.
Did you have friends from your neighborhood?
Oh yeah. My best friend across the street at the time, Kyle. We both went down to get our first real surfboards. I was talking to Bud Lamas about this the other day. It was on 6th Street, and there was this is like Stinger Swallows, and there was a company called Sea Ski. It's really old.
I kind of remember.
It's really old, and so we went and bought brand new Sea Ski surfboards, and so we would go down all the time. And a guy across the street was kind of a kooky guy, but he'd get out there on a raft, and so he had a Datsun pickup truck, and we'd always just go and surf Brookhurst Street.
How old were you?
I started at 10, so it was like 10, 34, 13, 73. I'm 62 years old. I was born in 1960. Wow.
Was that so? You guys would just charge the river mount,
Just
stand on the river bed,
surf the river and and so I didn't realize. It's the best testing grounds for I ended up surfing all over all the Cloud Break and Pike, all the places all over the world.
Yeah.
And that was my training ground. you know.
But
And
how,
so-
you bought brand new boards?
Brand new boards were like only $100 back then, you know. Yeah, they were cheap.
Stinger swallows.
Stinger swallows,
Single
6'6", if I remember correctly. Our number, we'd always 6'6". We had to have a 6'6".
Single
popular.
fixer.
Yeah, back then. And,
Yeah.
and
Gloss coat, any spray, or is it just kind of generic, like just logo?
No, just. I mean, mine was like red with white stripes, and his was lemon yellow. I remember, God, I always wanted to have his because I rode it a few times and it worked better.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to have his board. But yeah, back then there was so many. There was a guy named Brian Carson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. B-Rad, they called him.
No.
And so when we were kids, like he went to school in Santa Ana, and I remember one day he showed up, and this is just going off on a weird topic, but he took a belt, cut it, glued both of these straps on his deck, and was doing aerials in like 1974.
Wow.
Back at Brookhurst River. I remember doing helicopters out with, I was like, oh wow.
And he glued
His
belt?
Belt, like belt.
Yeah, belt loops.
Like leather belt thing.
Yeah.
And he'd certainly click his feet in and he'd be doing freaking helicopter aerials. I mean, you're talking early 70s.
What?
And then there was some unbelievable tube riders back then. This guy we used to call Magic Mark. He would just take off and stare at the nose of the board, hook a turn. Because I don't know if you guys remember, if you surf back then, that's a world-class wave, and it used to be a lot better even.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
Yeah.
Hollow and fast and thick. Yeah. Dude.
Was there a lot of surfers?
No, but you know what? The thing that was so neat back then, it seems like a lot of the surfers kind of are all doing the same thing. Back then, everybody seemed more original. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there was just some crazy chargers, and it's weird. I still surf there today, and I'll see these old guys. I'm like, man, that looks like the guy I knew his grandpa. And then I realize, I look in the mirror, I go, they're looking at me the same way. I get people that they tell me, like,
You're that one dude.
isn't that old dude that used to be able to ride the tube? Now he's kneeboarding.
Yeah. Sucks getting old.
Yeah, and then and then we started making our way down the coast, and we'd go surf Salt Creek when it was considered a secret spot, and I used to surf Pelican Point when there was nobody out there. Pelican Point, have you ever surfed that wave?
No.
Incoming tide, man. It's got 3 reefs, and it's just a really epic wave. And so we'd go on. It was a secret spot, man. It's like a Pelican Point, just right off Pelican Point Road right there. And we'd go surf that place, and we'd go surf all the spots in Laguna. Then we finally made our way to Mexico. I think the first time I went, I was like 13.
Wow.
And I had a buddy who was 16 or 17. Brian Carson. He had a driver's license in a car, and we started going to Mexico.
So easy back then, huh? Like just didn't.
Yeah.
No passport, no nothing.
It was kind of scary though. I remember being really scared because back then they all had M16 or whatever. They all had the old rifles. But then we discovered places like Baja Malibu. I mean, we weren't like the originals, but we would surf a lot of Baja Malibu and Popotla, and then like I was telling you later on, we moved to Todos Santos. We started surfing Todos Santos. I'd come back and tell stories of how I saw 30-foot waves. They're like, yeah, really, sure.
Yeah.
And
But going back to you, how old were you when you were starting to go down to Mex? Like
I was 13.
13.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
73.
Yeah. That's pretty young because you have a 14-year-old,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I have a 14-year-old, and you have a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
We would never let them go to Mexico by
But things were
themselves.
different then.
They were.
Hey.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But how crazy is life now where we think about the shit that we were doing back then? People can't do that. Kids can't do that these days.
No.
You know?
It's dangerous out
It's
there.
way dangerous. Our kids are probably don't have that mentality to fucking strike it out on their own. You know what I mean? Like that far.
No. It's way too sketchy these days.
Everything
for sure.
was before the internet. Everything was so. I remember going and you just hear there's supposed to be a swell, and if you got lucky, you got it. Now I remember going to surf in Popola, and I get it down to the hour.
Yeah.
Get the swell right on the
reports.
You knew when, and that takes kind of some of
Yeah.
the fun of the old surf trips used
Yeah.
to be. You score and or you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it was.
So we're parents, right? We're all parents here. What were your parents like when you were growing up?
I had 6 kids. In your
family?
In my family, there were 6 kids. So my mom was, I think, 21 when she had 6 kids running around, because she was my dad ditched her back in the day. And then she met a fireman who had 3 boys. She had me and my sister. They got together and had my other sister, Roxanne, who sadly died last year. She fell off a ladder. It was horrible.
Ugh.
But yeah, in front of my mom, it was horrible. I just shattered. But back then, they're like, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go. When the street lights come on, return.
Yeah.
You know, nobody was monitoring
You hang out at the house, it just gets destroyed. And I don't mean just messy, I mean like shit breaks and your liability, like, it was, you just want them out of the house.
Oh, yeah.
So you get eaten out of the house and home.
Yeah, talking about mechs, like Chuck Allen, which was a surf coach at Huntington High, I was in my brother was 4 years older, and they would do a high school like surf team surf trip, which was kind of like anybody that wanted to go down there that was in high school. And it was camping and firework and skyrocket wars and Roman candle wars and like just bad news. And I'm like, now looking back, like you mentioned, there's just no way that could fly these days.
Yeah.
You know?
Was there some localism going on back in the day?
You know what's funny? I remember bringing. We brought surfboards. There was a guy named Tony E, and he had like the big. He ended up having a surf shop, and it was like kind of famous in Rosarito. And we would go down there, and we'd bring our old boards and wetsuits and give them to the kids. And so there really wasn't much localism, you know. And then as it went along, what's that?
What about up here, like in Newport and Huntington? Did you experience localism from any of the?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Newport back in the punk rock days and stuff, you know, everybody was local. It's not local anymore, but you know, because you don't know who the hell lives there anymore. It's like Airbnb and everything's all different. But back in the day, yeah, there was a localism. Like I'll give you an example. Lance Collins been shaping my surfboards for 30 years. He's just, I mean, I ride longboard now, and I can do turns on. I think it's crazy. Double wing swallow stuff. But I remember I ditched my board in front of him at Blackie's, and I was just so scared. But there's Lance, he's like 6'5", just, you know, he's just, everybody knew he was just like, you know, he was intimidating. Yeah. And I remember he cracked my fin out, and I was like, okay, there's my surfing son for the day. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, you got in people's way or didn't you? There's people get socked up. People get I remember this kid got his board shot. Then one of the locals shot the board into the back of this kid's neck and gave him like a brain thing or something. I mean,
it's bad.
Yeah, it was dangerous. It's always been dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's like my mom said, you know, we're on like a half gallon of milk. We got a due date. You know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You know, if we all knew what it was, we probably wouldn't leave the house on that day or any other day. You know, you're afraid to live. Got to get out there and live.
Can't afraid to live.
That's why,
So you were inland a little bit.
I moved. It was funny. I moved. God, I think I was out of the house at like 16. Me and my dad, you know, I was raised in a horrible household. I don't know if I can say it, my dad would kill my animals in front of me, just drown my cats and do horrible stuff. I got beat and stuff when I was little. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. He's a psycho. And so,
is this the fireman?
You know, and yeah, he's a fireman. And there was some other stuff going on. And one day I stood up and I remember I was like possessed. I go, fuck you, like 20 times. I'm going, oh my God. My mom's going, you know, my sisters, they're all going, yikes.
Yeah.
And then I stood up, and at the time I was doing some boxing and stuff, and I was a kid, but I was like, you know, I was pretty tough. And I stood up to him, and I remember I threw the first punch, and I pulled it back. I could have just snapped his jaw. I was a little skinny guy, but I snapped it, and then he hit me. And I've done a lot of fights and a lot of things in my life. I've not been knocked out like that. He knocked me out where I was literally seeing stars. And like I could hear, but I couldn't see. I was seeing stars. I came to my mom, my sister on top of me, and he's like, I remember he looked at me and he goes, I've been waiting for this.
Wow.
And then I just ended up just leaving. And I was living in the back of cars and living in my sister's garage, wherever I could survive.
Tough love, right there.
Were you working by that time?
I started working at a furniture place, delivering furniture, but then I finally moved to Costa Mesa. And I think that was like 79. I got my first, you know, little place. And then it was right behind the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know if you guys know what the Cuckoo's Nest was.
Yeah.
That was the punk rock mecca. That was like our CBGBs. And so then all of a sudden I'm going to Black Flag. I'm going to Circle Jerks. I remember just going to this club and I saw Iggy Pop. Just everybody was at that club.
Found your calling. You found your home.
Yeah, and so I was like, wow, I really like this, and so that kind of changed my life. And then I had to balance.
16, punk rock took over your life.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right.
No.
I was at that time. I would be 19.
Okay.
79. I was born in 60. So 1920, I was just like, and then became so violent and stuff. I saw people get kicked.
But you weren't, introduced. You've been listening to that music, but that was just a venue that you could like.
I'm a metal guy. I was listening
Really?
to Black Sabbath, man. I was listening to Black Sabbath and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then when I saw that, I was like, man, this is something so new. I remember seeing like Social Distortion playing in front of 10 people. I was like a hair standing up my neck. I go, what? How come nobody knows about this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was really neat. But then it got so violent and crazy. I was growing my hair back out, listening to Sabbath by 82. I was already done with punk. So my mom used to say, if you're going through a cycle twice, you're too old to be doing it. I'm on like my 5th cycle with punk rock and metal music. So
we're going on our like 3rd cycle. We're old.
yeah, and then after that, shortly after that, I moved to Newport, and 3606 Park Lane, baby. So I started to that jetty. It's a good jetty sometimes. It's a good jetty. So I was parked there for a long time, and that was like, God, probably about 79 or 80. And then I've been in Newport ever since. So I still have a house on 5102 Neptune. I'm still down there.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm still down in this 31st Street.
So what were you doing? Like, did you finish high school?
Nope. Just never finished high school. And then one of my first jobs was I was running the art department at STS Graphics, which was Ocean Pacific. I remember laughing at myself going, God, I'm running this thing and all these people are college graduates. I never even finished high school. I just said so I started working in the graphic department
At Ocean Pacific.
at STS Graphics, which did all the Ocean Pacific graphics. And then
Was that in Costa Mesa?
no, that was in Anaheim. And then, like I said, I went after that. I was smoking weed, got caught smoking weed on the job, and I got fired. And then Michael Thompson hired me at Gotcha. And I went to Gotcha, to Jack Denny, and
a little bit more open-minded there than OP, the stuffy like corporate OP.
It was fun and got to be around all those great surfers and artists and stuff like that.
Well, to be able to like work with that eclectic like group of people that are just, Gotcha was on fire,
And
and
Michael Thompson back then was...
Sadly, he just passed too, didn't he?
Yeah.
God,
and then just like the surfers rolling through, hey, when the waves are on,
did you
going
get
surf
that job?
breaks.
It was funny. I just went in there, and I just said, hey, I brought my portfolio, and I said, I'd love to do,
So what do you mean your portfolio? Were you starting to be an artist?
Well, I did a bunch of graphics as well when I worked at Ocean Pacific. That's how I first got I started funneling my graphics and getting some art printed on the t-shirts and stuff.
Oh.
So I brought some of the art that I had done there and brought it in, and Michael Thompson basically hired me on the spot.
So how did you get into art?
I've been drawing since I was a little kid, and I just always was drawing logos and cars and different stuff like that. And then back then there was a lot of, if you go back to the Gotcha stuff and the OP stuff, a lot of it was Xerox art. Where you take like Xerox a bunch of different sizes, like a surfer, and then have a wave behind it, and then do some color stuff around it. So there was I did a lot of Xerox art. You see Volcom really picked up on that and did a lot of the stripes and that's a lot of Xerox stuff. So I started to do a lot of that stuff. And then I went off and I started another company with another guy, which was called Epic.
So going back, you move out of your parents' house at 16,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Between then, you worked at
Furniture storage.
I did furniture delivery. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then you started working. How'd you get the job at that screen printing place?
Well, a friend of mine Spencer Barch. He's the lead singer of a band called Shattered Fate.
Oh, I've heard of Shattered
Yeah,
Fate.
they're good friends of mine. Actually, the guitar player Denny McGahee was my second guitar player after Ray Bones in El Centro. So it's like I was kind of knew all these guys, and Shattered Fate was like a punk band in '77. I mean, they were like people don't realize that they were around doing punk before anybody, and I Spencer was running the art department at the time, and he, you know, we were pretty close, and he hired me to come in, and then one day he just up and quit, and I just moved right up into his spot.
So did you show him like
Yeah,
your artwork or
freehand drawings? Like
He just gave me a job. We were doing a lot of color separations and film stuff and art and that together. You know what I'm saying? We ran the whole department all the way down to the printing, where you'd have to go and okay the colors, and they had a big giant printing press, and you know it was huge. SDS Graphics was probably the biggest printing place around at that time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you never had a art
Nope.
job, no training, no.
Nope.
You didn't bring in a scrapbook of doodles
Nope.
or nothing.
Nope.
You
I just kind of grew into it and just had an opening, and I jumped. You know, I always said if the door opens, you gotta go walk through it.
Yeah.
So
was
that
it
opened up.
any good or just a job?
I loved it there.
Yeah.
I loved it there because you know when the surf was good, I was able to go surfing, but a lot of times I wasn't. I was so used to being up dawn patrol, or my favorite, as you can see, my art is evening sessions. I love the afternoon light hue of the afternoon. I missed a lot of days, but then a lot of times, you know, if it was really good, they'd go ahead, go surf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got clipped there for smoking. Got caught smoking.
I got caught smoking. I was smoking some weed, man. I was smoking my weed. I started smoking weed at 13.
Yeah.
Stopped at 30.
Yeah.
So from there, you just heard about Gotcha. And
Gotcha was the big thing.
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw the art and I saw the direction. I liked the little weird dude, whatever that
Shirt man.
At Salisbury Productions or whoever that artist was who was doing a lot of the stuff there.
Not even that, like they were on point and trendy and had killer shit, but that was like a company you knew, like the energy, the party,
Real surfers.
the surfers, like
Brad Gerlach.
like Potter, like dude,
Martin Potter.
all the guys rolling through there were like the best of the best. So that was like
Ocean Pacific and Hang Ten were like the
Old school.
older mainstream brands.
Yeah.
And then you had Quicksilver, and you had Gotcha, and you had Billabong that were starting to
All coming
really
up. Volcom. after
come out of
that.
Newport, really
Yeah.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
most of
Volcom
it.
and Billabong kind of, I think, obviously it started in Australia, but it seemed like it really, you know, and obviously Hurley and all the.
So you just walked into Gotcha one day and said, "Hey."
I walked in and Michael Thompson was that kind of guy. I go, hey, I'm a surfer. I do art. I'm pretty good at what I do. I work hard. I'm honest.
so just worked at one of the biggest printing companies around.
He pushed me right in, and then I was there for I forget how long. It actually wasn't that long. I ended up starting my own stuff.
Right after.
Yeah. I ended up I started a company called Crabby's.
No way.
Crabby Surfwear. Yeah, and it was taking off and it was going crazy. And I was doing acid wash. I was doing acid wash and puffing.
Wow.
With a crab, and it was crazy. And like I was doing it out of my house, and I was living 49th Street. The way it's just so good back. So I'm just going. I'm a musician. I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna do my clothing. And
So wait, you hadn't introduced us into music yet. Like, when did you? Were you in a band?
I started. First time I ever grabbed a microphone. There's a band called MIA. They're actually back and playing. Friends of mine from Las Vegas, Mike Conley and Chris Moon, and they were. I got a warehouse for them, kind of an empty place like this. Friends of mine, and they came to jam, and then they didn't have a singer, so I grabbed the microphone, and that's when I first grabbed the microphone. I go, whoa, I got it, and this is like 1980, and I go, man, I got a crazy voice. We're all listening to Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and I go, man, my voice is every bit as heavy as those guys. And so I would be rehearsing, we're going, man, this is going good. And then Mike Conley decided he was gonna sing. And so I said, all right, I'm out. And so I never even, that was it. And so, but I realized I had this voice and I wanted to do it. And then as I got Epic going, I'm sorry, I skip around.
You're fine. No.
And then when I got Epic going,
but Crabby's was first.
Crabby's was first, and then this other guy I knew that I worked with at STS Graphics, he hit me up and he goes, "You got any ideas for a clothing line?" Because he was doing a lot of Disneyland stuff, and he had this printing thing. And I go, Epic. And so we tried to get Epic, and we couldn't get it because of Epic Records. So I go, Epic Surf. And we got it. And then we started, and Epic started taking, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
No.
It started to take off, and it started really going off really good.
So going back,
And you're young. You're like 19, 20, 21 around this.
God, how old was I? No, I'm telling you, I was getting, I can't remember. My years are messy.
So you worked at Gotcha.
Yeah.
You quit Gotcha and started Crabby's.
Started Crabby's. I did that for a while. I started building it up. I was actually going to kids' little stuff. And then my friend who worked with me at STS Graphics, OP, he hit me up and goes, "You got an idea for a name? I'll bring you in. We'll be partners." So I came up with Epic Surf.
Epic Surf.
Yeah.
And how far did it get to? Like, were you guys making catalogs?
It was huge.
Trade show?
It was huge. We were at trade shows. We were at all the trade shows. Huge booth. The whole deal. And then I don't want to talk bad about my partner. He just had a few problems, and we ended up not delivering goods on time. He started to slip. And then
did you ever get to launch it, or?
Oh yeah, it was out everywhere. Are you kidding me? I had Ray Bones on my team. I had Bud Longs. We were starting to just build a surf team, skate team. Bud's career was kind of almost just right about at the end. And
I think I remember the
one. I'll get you $1,000 a month and get you Sea Surf Pipeline contest, and Bud and I would go over to Hawaii and stay at underneath Marty Hoffman. I forget what was her name. Anyway, we go over there, and so I just I got back into I just was so deep in surfing, and people God, I can't remember the guy.
So Epic Surf was a full on.
It was big. It got big for a while.
And did you have reps and all that?
We had everything.
Wow.
It was worldwide. And you look it up. It's crazy. It was worldwide. We brought the skulls, and we brought the we were like bringing all the skulls and skateboarding decks. We were doing skate decks, shorts, shirts, everything. It got really.
How many years was it?
I don't know. It lasted probably 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it ended up getting sold. Like somehow somebody came in to help, and then pulled some kind of scam. And I think all of a sudden it was at Kmart or something crazy. Yeah.
That's on Etsy. Is that Epic?
Yeah, that's Epic. That's our logo right there. That was
What?
Is that funny? Yeah.
Grass volleyball tournament, dude.
Yeah, we were in all that stuff. It was really neat. We did some really neat graphics, kind of groundbreaking, and it was it lasted for.
Somebody came in
and said they're going to help us, and ended up
fucking everything up.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard that so many times with partners and like.
What was your role?
Roles and yeah.
I kind of ran all the graphics and the surf team and
marketing
skate
stuff.
team, marketing stuff. And this is early kind of in the surf era, kind of early in the I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just
What a trip.
Epic.
I kind of remember it.
It was a little because one of the main artists, a couple of the artists that we brought over were from OP. So you can see a very OP look to it.
Very OP look, but that looks like Potts right there.
Yeah. And then we had Steve Pizarro, I think was his name. I don't think he's alive anymore, but he was a hell of an artist, man. And he was doing art for us. And
So were you doing music too alongside that?
well, this is funny. This is my dates. I'm old, man. My timelines get screwed. But like I said, I had brought we brought Ray Bones in, represent us because we were in skateboards too. And Ray is just probably one of the most amazing guitar players. People don't know that. He's like Tony Iommi from Sabbath. He's just a freaking gnarly guitar player. And so he's all, hey, Crabby, we should do something, form a band. And so they had a PA system out in the printing press area, and Ray brought his amp in, and we started doing like Alice Cooper, like 18, just a bunch of stupid songs. And then Ray goes, man, we could start something here. And so Ray and I started a band called Power Trip. And that thing just, I mean, it was crazy.
That's a good name.
Yeah. Well, a newer band had lifted it recently. The singer just passed away, but they lifted the name, and I was like, oh, that was mine. That was my name. But
so you and
me and Ray Bones,
Power Trip.
We did Power Trip, and it was crazy because back then there was no internet, so it was like we would just put the word out we were playing, and at a warehouse, like we do a warehouse like this, somebody let us play. I buy a couple kegs of beer, and there'd be 500 people there. I'm like, wow, this is the way all bands work, because I mean, just Ray was so, this was some magic in this band.
Yeah.
And
he's like a famous personality in skateboarding.
Yeah, he's just on a different level. And so we were doing that, and then it didn't last very long. It was funny. The guy who I did Epic with, he was really connected in a lot of different stuff, and he was connected with KNAC, the radio station KNAC.
Yeah.
And so he goes, hey, I got a way to get you guys on the radio. And I'm all right, how? And he goes, well, he just started a whole different thing after Epic. It was called 360 Hardware. And it was they were printing all the KNAC shirts. And so he was trying to launch.
KNAC was heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was launching.
Was Power Trip more heavy metal?
Totally. We were influenced by Zombie and Pantera and stuff like that. And
but you'd gone through a punk rock phase.
I was done.
Yeah.
I was done. And my hair was, I'll show you a picture, a crazy picture.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture.
I had hair like
that.
that too one day.
Mine all fell
back in the day.
Mine all fell out and grew on my back. It's like it replanted itself. So Dan, my friend from the Epic and the STS days, he goes, I got this connection. I got this way. The guy's he was a really good marketing guy. He goes, I got this idea where we could do a commercial with your music for 360 Hardware on 360 Hardware. Okay. And KNAC was big at the time. And so me and Ray are going, okay, all right, that sounds cool. I go, but I have to say,
what was 360 Hardware? What?
It was just another Epic. It was like but it was streetwear. It was like a heavy metal 360 Hardware. It's like cheesy 90s metal kind of thing.
But it was clothing.
Yeah. And so I go, okay. I go, we'll do it as long as we can say our band name. So right during this era, Macho Randy Savage, what was his name?
Yeah.
The Macho Man!
Yeah.
Randy Savage was out there. And so I always thought, I was into the wrestling thing and stuff like that. So he got us in the studio with a guy named Alan Blazek. I guess the guy who worked with the Eagle, a bunch of different bands. But he goes, just take part of one of your songs and just like talk over it or something. And so we're in the studio, and
so it's playing lightly in the back, but you guys are
no, it's playing heavy in the back. And it's called Corrosion of the Brain. The song me and Ray Bones wrote. And so he just Alan Blazek's playing this riff, and he goes, just say something. So I started writing this thing. I go, wow. I go, Randy Savage. I'm going to do Randy Savage. So I go, this is Power Trip for 360 Hardware. You tired of trendy yuppies trying to fit in? Step up and be counted. I can still remember what I said. It was crazy. It went nuts. And so we're like record labels, and people were like hitting us up, and then we just imploded. Like we'd never keep a drummer.
That sucks.
It's almost like what is it?
You almost
who's the drum? What's the funny thing? Where the funny comic thing where the drummer always implodes.
I don't know, but I know what you like.
Drummers.
You
kept losing drummers.
I mean, you got to have, good talent, and everybody's fighting for that. Like those those drummers or bass
Let me
players.
tell you, there's something about drummers. They have like a little, almost inferiority thing, and I say it with love because I love drummers. I've got some of the best. I can tell you where my drummers are now. They're in huge spots, but they're kind of in the back. and they don't get, like, I'm a front man, so everybody's like, oh, it's Crabby, oh, it's Anton Shadow, or whatever the hell it is, you know, and so the guitar player and everybody gets, but the drummer's back there, all you see is his hands and the sticks.
Yeah.
And so, but they are so important.
Oh,
A
yeah.
good drummer, it can go and just interchange in any band. It's like, I don't want to skip ahead, but two of my latest drummers, actually 3 of them, are gone to huge bands. One of them's playing in the Dead Kennedys now.
Wow.
The other one's playing in Face to Face. The other one was in the
So
Adolescents.
super talented.
And so all my drummers, are gone. So that's what happened. We kind of imploded back then. And so,
So Power Trip got.
Power Trip got disassembled, and I got death threats from people. They loved that band. It was crazy. And I thought that's the way music was. I thought, you know, you join a band, and every time you play it gets bigger. I found out later that's not the case.
Yeah.
You know, that was a fluke deal, and that thing had some magic to it.
How much do you think Epic Surf was doing?
I have no idea. I
But
have
it was-
no idea. I didn't pay that much attention to finance. I got a lump sum every month, and he just goes, "You come up with the name, and I'll give you a cut." You know,
Yeah.
and then he just, I mean,
But it went on for like 3 or 4 years.
yeah, it got
And
big.
it was globally distributed?
Globally. I remember we were in France. We were all over the place. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, "Wow, man, this thing's
And
really."
you were making all like board shorts.
board shorts. We were making.
Jeans.
I don't think there was jeans. It was like shorts, t-shirt. He was really
Corduroy.
into acid. He was really into acid wash because it was so huge. But he found this place that did colored acid wash, and so we had this acid wash look that nobody had. They had this rust one and this blue and this red, and it was just so cool back then. I mean, it's a cheese ball now when you think of it. But it don't come from. There's Ray Bones. That's the Epic. That's Ray Bones rock. That's a skate deck. How fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Ray's just
Checking out the
amazing.
logos.
Amazing. You see, I mean, is that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to recognize because I'm almost positive I remember it on Bud's board.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
That logo has been ripped off by so many people.
So after Epic, after Power Trip, what did you do?
Well, I started another band that was called El Centro, and it was funny because Ray Bones was my original guitar player, and we started writing this music, and then Ray got pulled into. Gabby Gabarno did this band called The X Members, and they like started to really blow up. But you know, Ray was straight up with me. He goes, "Hey man," he goes, like, "We're going on tour with No Doubt." You know, I go, "Well, we're not."
Yeah.
And so I called Denny up, who's a close friend of mine, the guitar player from Shattered Faith. And I go, "Denny," I'm working on this thing. We got a garage. I put a bunch of carpet up in it. We got a studio on the beach. We surf. As we'd surf and go play music and go surf and smoke weed and have our chicks around. We were like rock stars, on the beach.
Yeah.
And every neighbors would come and listen to us practice and stuff.
So wait,
But Denny came down and joined the band. And then
who started El Centro? You did.
I did.
Okay.
Me and Ray Bones.
Okay.
And
But he left you.
He
to
left.
go-
He left honorably, and
And El Centro was what kind of music? Punk rock.
punk rock and reggae. We were originally. When I first started. Like I just found my demo tape. I was like, I'll get you a copy. It's crazy. It was really good. I was more influenced by hardcore, and then when Denny came in, he was a melodic guy. It's like Shattered Faith was very melodic, very much. I believe Bad Religion, kind of the same flavor as Bad Religion, melodic punk. Which back in the day, people were like, these guys are lame. You know, they're singing melody because they're blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
And so Denny came in. He goes, "Man, we gotta let's write some more melodic stuff."
And you,
so,
who did the writing? Like you?
I did all the writing. I wrote all of it. I write all the lyrics, put all the songs together, all of it. And so we started doing that, and then El Centro just
Did you study?
no.
Nothing.
I read a book on the Rolling Stones. I read a book on the Beatles. I learned music structure, and that's the thing that drove everybody crazy. People don't realize how important it is to have 3 choruses and a bridge. The bridge takes you away from this and drops you back into it. And so, I always tell
Take
people
to the bridge.
Exactly. And so I always tell people that the chorus is the subject, and the verse is discussing the subject. You take like Stone Temple Pilots. One time a thing occurred. Is it me? Is it me? You know what I mean? If you think that's just like the most perfect structured song. And so if you deconstruct structure, you realize that the chorus, you gotta yell at them with the chorus and then drop back in and tell the story. The Beatles did it, all the Stones, all the songs that stood the test of time. So I just started studying the best guys out there, and I would, just try to mimic as much as I could. I was heavily into the Clash, and I love the way the Clash did reggae music. And so I was spending a lot of time in Fiji and a lot of time in the tropics listening to reggae music. And I remember one day I told the guys, I want to let's do a reggae song. And this is early on.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you, Crab Marley? I remember my bass player goes, what are you, Crab Marley?
Well, you smoked some weed and now you're Marley?
I go, man, look at bands like look at these, look at the Clash.
Yeah.
They did Daddy was a bank robber who never heard. I mean, they did the soul that was in the Clash.
Yeah.
They brought, and if you look back, reggae music is so important. You look back and you look at like who brought Bob Marley up. I think it was Eric Clapton. He did I Shot the Sheriff, but he went and discovered Bob Marley and then brought him over and let him. These guys, the big stars, said, "Man, reggae's something big." So I started saying, "Hey, let's do some reggae music," and
that was almost blasphemy.
Yeah. And people like crap. And then so I remember the first time we broke out. I just got back from Fiji, and
because when you think about like longboarding and shortboarding and skateboarding and against surfing, like there's like clashes between those different types of, I guess, point of view, right?
Oh yeah,
like
totally.
Rock and roll and punk rock. Those are two.
It's different.
They were against each other though, like the hippies versus the skinheads.
Well, totally,
right?
totally. We used to fight all the time. Just walk into the cuckoo's nest.
Right.
And a bunch of wrestlers would jump out, and we'd be like,
yeah. But that's like, back then there was a separation of music tastes and looks and like.
You knew who or who.
Yeah.
It just based
oh,
on
we had blue hair or mohawk and fish hooks hanging out of our ears. You know what I mean? That was the real days.
Yeah. Because like the early 80s, 90s, like there's such a music explosion, right? Like the new wave, like
Those were the best.
rockabilly.
Those were the best of times.
There hasn't been an era like that.
There never
Ever.
will be.
Yeah.
Do you remember hearing we had mohawks and Stray Cats came out. And I'm like, I go, man, I like this shit. People are like, dude, you're lame, man.
Yeah.
Let's put some Black Flag on. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I started learning about punk rock, right? And you're thinking, oh shit, is Oingo Boingo punk rock? No.
Oh no, because New Wave was like, you're like, whoa, they got weird hair. And yeah, they got a leopard skin T-shirt on, so they got to be punk rock. No, I know what you mean. It was
and I remember buying a T-shirt that said "Black Flag kills ants on
Dead.
contact."
Are you
Dead on contact or something like that, right?
Yeah, you know what that was? Black
Adam
Flag
Ants.
for Adam and the Ants.
Yeah.
I had that shirt.
Yeah.
It said Black Flag kills ants dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was
dude, Black Flag played all the time.
The music, there was rivalry and like, there was antagonists. Like
Punk rock was a fuck you.
Yeah, punk rock was like
Against the system.
Fuck all of that. Fuck every kind of music.
Yeah.
And like reggae and like, ska and mods, like all those people, they weren't really meshing.
Oh, no.
Until like Sublime and like, that era of like music where it's all started kind of mixing together, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sublime really broke a lot of ground down. Like, you go to a Sublime show, and they rip the place down with a punk rock song, and then you come in with reggae. You know? And
So going back to you formed El Centro, but Ray Bones wasn't part of it. It was you and
Denny McGahee from Shattered Fate.
Okay.
Shattered Fate's still out there ripping it up. Great, just one of my best friends in life.
And were you guys able to make like money touring or playing or?
Well, this is where we ran into a problem. I had every opportunity in the world. Like I said, we did Warped Tours, our music. I got on movies, television, radio, MTV. I had the opportunity to...
With El Centro?
Yeah, to like I said, we did CSI Miami.
With El Centro?
Yeah. Dude, Tony Hawk was his first acting debut. He skate. People call me, go, dude, you're, No Denials is on CSI Miami right at Tony Hawk. I was like, oh, back then I was like, oh, all right, cool,
Yeah.
I worked hard. I expected stuff like that.
What year was this? Like mid-90s or?
No, it had to be right around 2002, right around the bombing time. I had a lot of breaks during that time. You know, a lot of focus was on us, and so like our music got used on the ESPN Music Awards, and I was like, you know, I was so like dinged up that people were like, oh, you guys are on, you know, Linkin Park just came out to your song or whatever. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I couldn't think. I was like, cool, you know. So yeah, El Centro got a lot of breaks. But the thing was, here I am. I was so addicted to Mexico at the time, and I just had it so wired. 2 hours I was surfing this reef break, which is pristine with kelp. It could be white capped, and this place is just glassy, perfect piece. And so I'm just like, I'm addicted to surfing, you know. And so here I am living on the beach in Newport. I got this band that's ready to blow up, and I want to be the local hero. I don't want to get on a bus for 5 years to make it, and that's my decision. I decided I want to surf and have fun and live on the beach and go pick and choose Warped Tour shows and just be what it was. I never really wanted to be a rock star. I love music, and I love to get up on stage, and I love, you know, people. I kept people going, you know, I played your song at my dad's eulogy. We got married to your song. And I was like, whoa, you know, that's kind of neat.
Yeah,
you know?
that's really
and so I chose surfing over my music career. You know,
well, you're mixing business with pleasure.
Absolutely.
Right? Like,
I wanted to have the best. So I could be a local rock star, and I could still ride the tube. Just, you know, I was just like,
well, you didn't want it to become a full job because that's
I
taken
didn't.
away from.
And I never really wanted to be a rock star. I just didn't.
Did you have another job after that? After Epic?
I won't talk about the jobs I was doing during this time. I was making a ton of money. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. Moving
stuff.
on. Yeah. Put it this way. It was very lucrative times back then.
You're in distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a nice, honest living.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Being a distributor it's not, you know,
Hey man,
it's got a lot of risk, but you know, you got a lot of
a lot of rewards.
yeah.
So,
Let's say you kept going.
Did that for a little bit and made your music.
Quite a while.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was all of your creative like art like focused on like t-shirt graphics and stuff, or were you starting to do other like?
Well, you know, I did stuff like I designed tattoo. This is like my tattoo for the Uprising.
Yeah.
I designed stuff like this, and then, you know, I've done so much t-shirt and stuff I still do. As a matter of fact, I'm lucky enough to. Are you guys familiar with Jimbo Phillips?
Yeah.
Okay, his son is a super sweetheart. He's just like
Jimbo Phillips. Is that
his son is Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
His son is just every bit what he is, but he's like a fan of our music and stuff like that, and so like. He did a lot of our graphics and different stuff like that, but I do a lot of our band graphics and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and then, you know, as far as, you know, I don't know if you're ready to skip ahead to that, but as far as that goes, painting, stuff like that.
Well, that's what I was like, you know, what kind of mediums are you painting on? Because back then you were like, hey, it's business t-shirts, like, you know, create brands,
that's right.
Doing artwork for
That's
your
right.
guys' band posters and events and.
Yeah, and then.
Aside from the business that we can't talk about, you were making money with El Centro.
Yeah, I would get, you know, like that Intersection movie. I think we got like $10,000 for that. You know, I was getting $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I was getting checks all the time from ASCAP for the Viva La Bam, and you know, those were coming in pretty good.
So
you know?
let's. We're kind of skipping around, but
Yeah.
Intersection.
Welcome to my world.
No, it's fine. But Intersection was
A movie by Taylor Steele.
Yeah.
and the best part got $100,000,
Yeah.
and it had to be paired with us. The surfer, the videographer, whoever got to put their own in the music. They got to put their own part within the movie. So
Yeah.
Taylor was the blanket, you know, supporter and creator, and then
Everybody submitted their.
I still don't even know which surfer we had, but I know we made some money on that.
Yeah, we'll have to research on
Yeah.
which.
Skip and I were kind of looking. I'm like,
Well, I looked up. It was Miola.
was it
one?
Mark Miola?
Mike.
Mike Miola?
Matt.
Matt
Miola,
from,
yeah, one of those.
from Maui.
Maui.
Yeah.
Matt Miola from Maui.
Maui Live.
I think there's a few different intersections, isn't there?
But there are. There's
yeah.
like, yeah, that was the first one maybe.
Orange intersection, orange something.
Yeah, I don't know. We gotta check it out because when those came out, they were freaking bad. I mean,
I heard that was like one of the most expensive surf movies that was made.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. I think it really helped Matt Miola like get solidified back into surfing and get sponsors. So
Definitely.
yeah,
We got a nice little chunk on that one. I don't know how the content. I didn't pay attention to it. I just got money and I was like, I didn't even
You want
really
to use my song? Cool. All right.
Yeah, I was just. I was excited to have my music
So-
out there. I can't. I'm one of those guys that it's hard for me to go back and listen to my own music. I kind of cringe.
So during El Centro, you guys were doing the Warped Tour.
Yeah, we got to pick and shoot. We were pretty spoiled. Kevin Lyman was really nice to us. He'd give us like little spurts. We'd go for a week, and then we'd go back home, and he just gave us. So over the years, we got to just do.
Wherever you wanted to go.
Well, not wherever we wanted to, wherever he wanted us to go, but
Yeah.
he'd just go, hey, this is where you're going.
Yeah.
And so we got to. I mean, we were on the same tour when Eminem was just breaking.
Wow.
We were on the same tour with Kid Rock. We were on the tour when. God, so many big bands were breaking,
But what a fun, I mean, to go and guess work, like you said, mix business with pleasure. Like the work tour was, could only imagine like, you got your set and you got to, obviously, fill your slot, but everything around within that few days or a week or whatever, it's got to be incredible.
We actually had Jared from the Dirty Heads on.
We played with the Dirty Heads when they were first starting.
Yeah.
In Arizona. Yeah.
And he was telling us though, it's like, you don't know when you're going to go on until they tell you. And you could be on at 10 o'clock in the morning or, prime time at 5 or 6 at night.
Or you could be going on at the same time Pennywise is.
Right.
On a
Like
different
the-
stage.
Because you go and you look at different stages and you go, Pennywise, 7 o'clock, else you're like, yikes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good luck with the draw. And then sometimes like one day Kevin goes, you guys are coming on right before Rancid. I go, what? And I mean it was like, I think it was a Metrodome, but it was somewhere in Texas, and it was everybody was piled up to see Rancid. We're out there going, whoa man, that's big, man.
Yeah.
That was one of the bigger things we've done.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking like 50,000
You're talking just, I wouldn't know how much, but it was just big. It was big.
at big stadiums. And
Yeah, big stadiums.
How was that getting up for that?
You know what's weird? I'm more intimidated by a small crowd with my friends going like this. Because like people are going, dude, you kind of, I don't know, you kind
Tough
of.
critics.
Oh, yeah.
Versus people just.
And I'm deaf, so I'm just like, dude, try doing what I do, period, let alone having about 30% hearing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So you were comfortable, living comfortably,
Very comfortably.
touring, and living in Newport.
Surfing,
Yeah.
got your girls, you got your money, you got your cars, got my 68 Impala, I got my little Volkswagen thing with the 2180 motor, and I got all, it was fun. It was a great time. It was a great time. Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but offline, you're talking about drugs
Yeah.
and how you got into.
Yeah, I went through, at one point I was on heroin, and I had a problem with it. I collapsed my veins and coke and heroin together, and I was into horrible times. Like I was telling you that one time I was in a house one time where I shared a needle with 25 or 30 people. It was just that was kind of a punk rock thing, and then we did crack, all kinds of crap. But then I kind of got back into it later, and it was kind of not many people. I was like a functioning.
It went from a full acceptable social, party scene to later.
Well, to where it's like, dude, how can you can't function in regular life being on such a dangerous drug.
Well, like they say that heroin is the most powerful drug. Like your chances of rehabilitating from that are next to none, right?
The thing I think about heroin, I think the reason why you go through such harder withdrawals is because it leaves your body quicker than weed or coke would.
It's like
And so
it
it's like
spikes.
so it's just your body's going, dude, you know, you gotta have some more.
Doesn't it? I mean, I've done some, not as gnarly as that ever, but it trips me out. Like when you see like documentaries and stuff, and you watch people shoot up, and the way their body gets like
just comatose, like
yeah, and their faces, like, you know, their eyes go in the back of their head, and then they're just like
a zombie,
and you just look at that and you're like, what's the fun in that?
But, all in the head.
But if you mix Coke with it, there's the difference. You get that.
But you get
Coke,
the
you get
longevity.
that really buzzy Coke thing. Then you just go.
Yeah.
Just chill. That's what got Belushi. That's it. What it does is it monkey fucks your heart. You know, your heart's going do 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 boom boom do do do. You know.
Yeah.
And so it's very dangerous.
Throws it out of
people.
Rhythm.
And then the thing about heroin as well is it cleans out your body so quick. People that quit and then they go, you know, I'm gonna do one tonight. I'm gonna party, and then they do it, and then they die. And now there's fentanyl in it, and it's just it's a horrible thing. I look back.
How'd you live through that? Right?
You know, I had such a horrible childhood. Like I told you before, I wanted to die a lot of my life. I didn't care. You know, I was abused, I was molested. I had a lot of horrible stuff happen to me when I was little. So, and it's kind of funny that you bring that, but that I built a mechanism when I was a child from this stuff happening that saved my life later on, and we'll get to that. I built a shut off to where I could not be Crabby, I could not be Steve, and I could get out of my body and just let what happened happen, and I'm over here. It's a mental thing that I initiated when I was a child.
But you didn't realize it then. But
no,
later in life,
it saved my life then.
That's so wild. I mean, talking about, like, I know some, you know, high, functioning like drug addicts.
Yeah.
You know, where they, you know, talking like people with big responsibilities and people that have like high stress, and you know, and you wonder why they would do it, but then it's like, I mean, that's why drugs are so prevalent. You know, it's like you can't. I mean, there's certain personalities, like, I mean, there's people that drink and you know they're shitty drunks, or they're just like luscious or happy, or, you know, and then there's, you know, same thing with any narcotic or, you know, bad drugs, you know, like it depends, but it's all in moderation. And I mean, the stronger the hardcore drug, you know, the crazier it is to kick. Not that I've done it.
You know, what you told us, sharing needles with fucking 20, 30 other people.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't get.
You should be dead.
They didn't even wear condoms back. They didn't even know what a condom was back in the day.
Back then,
if I wore one, I'd go like this in between.
Like AIDS was going crazy back.
Yeah,
probably back
yeah,
then.
It was.
And
we just, our mantra was live fast, die young. I told you, I got to 30. I go, I'm gonna die by 30. I'm gonna die by 40. I'll be dead by 50. I'm 62. I'm like, here I am, and now I want to live.
Yeah.
Back then, I didn't care. I was so damaged from being a child, you know, from all this childhood trauma.
So you know, going back to surfing,
yeah,
you got to travel the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, your scrapbook, you're talking, you know, Mex and mainland, and then Cloudbreak,
Tamarua, Nicaragua. Yeah, everywhere.
Wherever there's a good left, you go backside. Do you ever go on any raids?
I surfed a lot of big Todos, and Calafi is one of my favorite breaks too. But yeah, growing up in Newport, it's mostly all lefts. You know, so I was just like, you know, I was just like,
doggy door lefts.
My nickname before Crabby was called Rivermouth. They called me because I was always at the Rivermouth, just in the barrel, or they called me Caveman Crab, because I was always in the
Harry deep voice. Oh.
Hey! Oh, I got a strong voice. See how I'm deaf, and so my voice got strong.
You just blew our listeners' eardrums out.
I think I did. Sorry.
It's all right, Lyndon does that all the time.
Sorry. Sometimes I don't realize how strong my voice is.
So that life that you were leading was so fucking like crazy.
It was insane.
You're in the band, Newport.
You're in a band traveling all across. Did you go like out of the country with Warped Tour too?
No, I never went out of the country. We'd be in Florida, we'd be in Ohio. You know, we'd get little clusters, and we'd go fly there and go play, and then go do a little cluster, and then go back home, and then, you know, be local heroes here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I've always lost all my drummers, and all my players get to go. I always want to go to Europe. I've never been to Europe to play. That's the one thing I wanted to do. I haven't been able to do.
Yeah.
I'd like to play in Europe.
Let's get the band back together.
Yeah, you're only 60, so
I'm playing tomorrow night.
Epic.
I'm playing tomorrow night. Don't kid yourself.
So
stay young.
You're surfing all around the world, exotic places.
That's right.
All right. So, and work was just
Yeah.
surfing and
I wasn't. Let's put it this way. I had fuck you money.
Wow. Travel. Let's
Yeah.
go.
So my life was surf,
Was it quick straight?
get back, focus on music.
did you ever sign with a record label?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. Finger Records. We signed with Finger Records. And then when we were doing Power Trip back in the early day, we had the big guys coming after us. And then me and Ray just imploded. It was just one of those things. We had. I mean, you're talking about electric, big labels and stuff.
I mean, the parallels of like, we talk about our industry and starting brands and, you have partners and then, we've interviewed a few different, musicians or artists and stuff. And it seems, like you got to have
Talent.
you got to have such a click and a shared responsibility of like, what everybody's tackling. I mean, you got to have, like you said, good drummer. You got to have a lead singer.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a good, bass player, or guitar player, or, whatever, however extensive it is. But it's like, to keep that nucleus like tight, it's got to be
The hardest-
so hard because the head egos.
The hardest thing is, and me being the band leader always, and all the bands, is you got to have a republic. You got to have a democracy. Somebody goes, hey,
Contribute.
Well, no,
listen.
I'd like to do, like we're doing a cover band right now. I'm just having a blast doing this cover band. We're doing all 80s covers right now. And, guys are like, let's do Turning Japanese. I'm like, but you got, I can't go, hey, I'm going to do everything. I mean, because we do everything from Black Flag to Bob Marley, right in the middle of set up to Get Up, Stand Up. And people are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But you have to listen to people. It's like having 5 fucking girlfriends. True, it is.
You're right.
And so you
Yeah.
have to, you can't be an idiot and try to control everybody's thoughts. You've got to let, when somebody wants to talk, and you'll find if you don't let them, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're
But
gone.
the secret is letting them think they're in control gives you
Just like with women.
Yeah. Give 'em-
I always
give
say
'em
like
enough-
blowing up a balloon, you let it get too big, and it's all like this. You gotta deflate them a little bit at a time. Shh.
Yeah.
And then go big.
It's gotta be squishy.
Yeah.
Can't be tight.
The ultimate control is letting them think they have control.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Because you're in control.
Yes.
well, we like to
there's-
think we are.
Well,
Yeah.
there's personalities that, thrive and are successful in that helm and that and then there's supporting casts are sometimes equally as important, like a delegate and but I like your analogy of,
It's like
being a
5
democracy and 5 girlfriends,
got-
like,
so you got-
everybody, everybody's got to be.
You can't bring your negative energy from your life into the room.
Yeah, this
when,
is your
when you're in
home.
the room, everybody's there to have fun. I had guys tell me last week in the band, they're like, if I'm not having fun, I don't want to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so you got to get in there and have fun. I go Noodle, play a blues jam for an hour.
Yeah.
Do whatever you guys want to.
So going back to you living with effing money, did you think of like starting another brand after Epic?
No. I kept thinking,
Because you were right there.
yeah, oh God, yeah. I kept thinking,
And also, sorry to interrupt, but on top of that, like, were you making money selling band?
Merch and
Merch,
you know what?
NCs.
I'm the biggest fool on earth because I would go and I'm known for just giving
Stuff away.
The way I looked at it back then, T-shirts were $3. I go, you're a walking totem pole. You're a walking
Billboard.
billboard.
Yeah.
And so I would throw out 20 shirts,
Yeah.
and people would be wearing my shirts everywhere. So I wasn't too worried about. I just like I said,
Because you had.
I had enough money.
Yeah.
I've never been driven by money. I just never
Yeah.
have been.
Yeah.
And God's kind to me. He always makes sure that I'm okay. And
Yeah.
and I've just never been that greedy guy,
Yeah.
And
That
so
and it doesn't make it fun if you're having to sell X amount of T-shirts at every show just to make it happen, then that's not fun either. Like
Well-
it's
it's some people have to do that.
I know, and that's why I brought it
No,
up.
absolutely.
You know, like they
But
have,
he's in a position that
and he has that background
Yeah.
of like t-shirt
Right, that's
graphics
what I'm
and
saying,
shirts,
like-
and like you would think it'd be a no-brainer.
I'm actually a really good salesman. When we just the last tour I did, it's been quite a few years ago. We toured with a band called the Dwarves. They're such great guys. Black Dahlia was just, I love this guy. I just went and saw him do acoustic jam the other night. He's funny. But we were getting $200 a night. We're on tour, $200 a night to play, and I would sell $500 or $600 worth of merchandise. Right as soon as I get off stage, I'd sit down and talk to people. I'm like, man, you're gonna go buy a Big Mac tomorrow. Buy a fucking T-shirt. Buy a
support
hat.
us a little bit.
And so I learned to do a lot of good marketing.
Yeah.
Because the business that I used to be in is not so lucrative anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's funny. The less I tried back then, the more I got.
Yeah.
Now I'm going, okay, I really want to do all this stuff, and it's like,
Isn't it crazy when
gears
you,
are going
how
on.
that happens? Where it's like with a girl, right?
yeah, you try
Like,
too hard, you lose.
You try too hard, you show too much attention, it shows like that desperation, right?
Right.
Like they can smell desperation and they're getting turned off by it.
Yeah, they want somebody that's fucking give a shit.
Yeah.
fucking cool. Like, you know, they got swagger.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I like
what's
that
your
guy.
name again?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, they,
Uh,
to be honest with you, they kind of like the bad guy.
Yeah.
But they want to lock down with the good guy.
Yeah.
But the good guy's usually boring.
Yeah.
The bad guy is like, you know,
Dude,
they-
find
That's
a
why
good-
I'm so fucking bad.
Yeah.
you got to be bad.
I'm the
worst.
I'm the baddest good guy you know.
You remind me a little bit. No, you look like a little. You like your mannerisms are like.
Yeah, I'm a full dick sweetheart. I'm an asshole.
That's it?
Yeah.
You've got. I remember I said to my girl, I go, what if I showed up at work and brought you flowers every day and checked your phone all the time? She goes, I'd dump you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They don't want to be followed and tracked.
No,
I don't give a shit. Go do what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what? It's
Yeah.
like the difference between wanting to go to school
Yeah.
and having to go to school.
Yeah.
So-
Spontaneity is like, or you know, spontaneity. I don't even know how if I pronounce it.
Spontaneity.
But like, you know, giving a flowers, you know, every once in a while,
Yeah.
they'd appreciate it. But if it's like, you know, expected, it gets boring. You got to be.
No, because you'll throw up in your mouth.
Yeah, you
they'll
gotta-
throw up in their mouth a
yeah.
little bit every time you come around. They're
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
I really like you a lot. They're like, beat it, you goober.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Sure.
I want a good bottle of wine or a nice dinner. Okay, let's
So,
go.
your best friend became your manager, right?
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah, Steve
Webster.
Stephen Brooks Webster. Yep.
And how did you guys meet?
It's funny. We always called him Instabro because I remember we were at the Pink Cadillac in Honolulu, and Mark Potter was walking. Mark Potter and I kind of looked. I had the long hair. We all looked kind of, and Steve would come up and go, "Martin, what's up?" He'd be like, "Hey," and Steve would go, "Well, my name's Steve Webster. I work for offshore." He was a sales guy at offshore, and he'd go, "My name's Steve. I love your. I follow you." And so we called him Instabro. So he would. The thing with him is he would always. He knew people from afar, and he studied people, and then he'd make his move, and he was such a smooth talker. He was a sales rep guy, and so he was really smooth, really just a fabulous guy, and a great surfer. But
Is he from Newport? too?
yeah, and it was funny because I kind of knew of him, and I just thought he was kind of stink bug in the tube, you know. I was like, I'm standing up like this, and he's kind of. And so I was like, he's kind of kook, I don't know. And
That's what I think of
But
this
you
guy.
met him in the water.
so one day, yeah, we met him in the water. I met him in the water, and it was weird. I think it was like Columbus Day or something. It was
It was a man crush at first sight.
But there was some weird swell from off of Japan that was like a straight west.
Ooh,
And I've only seen a few of them, and it was just
triangle.
sheet glass A-frames before they screwed the sand up out in front of my house. They're treasured. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
But I remember just getting dry barrel after dry barrel, and I was going left, and he was going right. And we'd kick out. I'd be like, dude, we're screaming at each other in the tube, and just kick out. And
How old were you guys?
God, I was probably 30. I was probably
So you guys didn't meet until later on in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
And he was a rep for offshore.
yeah,
Okay.
And so I was probably 28 or 29, yeah, right around there.
But you've seen him out in the water, you know the face, you know who he is, but you just don't, you never communicate.
And I'll put it this way, I met him.
You were in El Centro?
I was at Power Trip.
Power Trip.
When we met. And I just found pictures of him wearing big belt buckles and his hair is it's funny. But yeah, so he had already heard, he kind of idolized Ray Bones, and he heard, and like we were the talk of the area, you know, we're like every place we played was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so he Instagrammed me. And we just
Who coined that nickname from?
Jeff Parker.
Yes.
Jeff Parker's another good friend of mine. Jeff Parker, I see him all the time. We talk all the time.
Okay.
So I remember he got the cover of Surfing. I was like, damn, dude, you got the cover. But
yeah, that was Preston Murray, Danny Kwok.
oh yeah,
Jeff Parker,
John
Gothard.
John Gothard.
Yeah.
Remember he kind of had those. He's like the ride off 51st or 54th.
Yeah.
Remember when he used to get good on there? But that's how we met. And then he's like, he used to talk like an AM DJ. Well, Crabby, you know, I can really do a lot for your band. You guys are a bunch of jackoffs. You know, you're out there playing backyard parties. You guys should be playing the big shows and blah 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 blah. Anyway, so he
But was he in music?
no.
Is this a self?
No, he
Don't
just
make it till you make
No,
it.
he
Yeah.
goes, no, he was just an Insta bro. So he just dug around there. He started getting us in videos, started getting us on shows. And
But his job or occupation
at that
Sales
time,
rep
he worked
for
at
offshore.
offshore. Then he started his own company, which was a environmental cleanup company. And it was really good. Like
That's cool.
He'd do gas stations that, you know, where the ground's polluted from gas or asbestos cleanup and all this other stuff. And so he was just coming out of offshore doing environmental cleanup. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna help you guys. I go, what are you gonna do? You know, it sounds like you're
We're not going to sell $500 worth of t-shirts. We're going to sell 1,000.
yeah. And
You know, we're going to do this. We're going to get this.
So he
video.
started opening a lot of doors for us, and we, you know, him and I served all over the world together, and we spent a lot of time together. It was weird because we were like the odd couple. You know, here I'm this guy with a mohawk and a wallet chain, and you know, just known as just kind of being the grubby punker around the golf course. We played
Crabby.
golf. Yeah, we're out playing, and he's got his little logo embroidered on his shirts, and all of his friends are yuppies. It was like I was like the Summer George or whatever. You remember that shit?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's funny. I
The,
shared this
the
picture today.
full-on odd couple. He was
Yeah.
the
He was the
straight-laced guy.
And he'd be like, Crabby, he goes, one of three things is gonna happen. You're gonna die, go to jail, or whatever. He had these three things. I was like, all right. You know, and so he really wanted to, you know, get me to straighten out my act and actually make something of the band.
Huh.
And
So he said to you, "Hey, here's my plan. I'm gonna get you."
yeah.
these
So he
things."
got us on some videos and started, you know, helping us a lot and doing stuff, and the connections really started to open. And his main thing was he wanted me to get me to quit being, you know, drinking myself to death and do all the drugs. I don't know how I made it through. It was dumb.
So
But you're here. And
So-
you're telling about it. And you're helping others.
So he wanted to. He did that other business with the environmental cleanup stuff, but then he said, "Hey, I think I can help you guys
That's right.
become more of an entertainment company."
That's right. And get off the roof parties, backyard parties,
Yeah.
and get on the big stage. He always believed in us, you know, and he's like, you gotta write that one song.
So when he said that, what was your like? Did he say, "Hey, you know, look at these guys. This is what these guys."
That's what he did. And he goes, look at Social Distortion. He goes, they were playing the Cuckoo's Nest. He goes, now they're playing the Palladium.
Yeah.
And it was funny because in my script, I just read it, it's part of him saying that. He goes, Social Distortion went from playing the Cuckoo's Nest to Palladium. I always wanted to play the Palladium. We played the Palladium, sold out with Bad Religion.
Wow.
Which I'll get to later.
Yeah.
But Bad Religion's really helped me a lot.
So he came into your life trying to get you more organized.
Get me clean, get me straightened out. Yeah.
So he wanted to really help you get clean too.
He's your little guardian angel, man.
Yeah.
So-
And
so-
it's very hard on me. This is very hard thing for me to
Yeah.
lose it.
So what at that time when you were doing all the
Yeah, I
shows?
was a closet weirdo, you know, doing a bunch of weird stuff, you know, just that time there probably wasn't any drug I wouldn't do, you know. I was like like I said, I just expected to be dead. And then I overdosed several times. I was like, somehow I came back. I'm like, oh, okay, you know. It's like
Overdose
heroin. I remember
to the hospital or just
no, I just had friends that were there that helped me during the time, and I came back.
Wow.
I had one where I was choking on my tongue, and my friend was holding my. I was like, oh my god, it was horrible. Yeah,
and this was your inner circle, like your band members and
my band members weren't like that.
No,
it was very me doing stupid stuff. You know, as a matter of fact, it's so dirty, it's so horrible sounding that anybody ever really paid attention. You know, I remember going to Christmas with my mom, and she took me to church, and my veins were stinging. I looked down, I could see that. I was like, oh my god, go to hell. You know, they were just like, God was like stinging my arm. I'm going, oh. And so, you know, hey.
Like you're a vampire and you're about to burst into flames in church.
It was horrible. And here I am, you know, my family's all being, you know, I'm trying to do the Christmas thing, and here I am just going, man, if these people knew how high I came to Christmas, how many times, and different stuff. It was stupid. The worst mistake of my life.
Steve Webster was
my mentor and
angel sent to you to help you get clean.
That's right.
And did you go to rehab and shit like that?
No, actually.
You got worse.
Well, you know, I would ebb and flow, but as we get to the trip to Bali, that was an intervention type of trip.
Let's go on a couple month trip.
Go for a month and get straight yourself
just
out.
focus on surf.
On a surf trip.
Yeah.
With your best friend.
That's right. And a couple of other guys that we went with.
So that was the purpose of that trip.
It was
a lot of people
Steve's
didn't know that.
First birthday, but that's how he.
Yeah.
He organized it.
Yeah.
Because going, you know, celebrating a big trip like that for your 41st is kind of like, it's not a.
It was his birthday.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Your 41st. Usually it's
and he
40, 45,
41st
50.
birthday?
Like, you know, like we've done trips and it's like, oh, we're going to Bali or a boat trip, and it's like somebody's 40th or 50th or whatever,
but not a 40th.
Not a 40th. Yeah.
And the craziest thing was, I went with two other guys from Huntington, and Steve was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go. He had his son, and then he's like kind of like, you know, I think he knew he was going the whole time, but he was like, you know, I'll probably show up there or something like that, and he did. I was walking down the street, and I could hear his voice, and there he was.
Wow.
I'm Kuda.
Wait, so
he
organized a trip, said he wasn't gonna go,
and then showed up,
without you knowing.
Yeah. He goes, I might show up. But then he also told me I might show up in Mexico and surf Rosarito with you and never show. You know how people are.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking on the street and there he was. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God, you're here. Crazy. This place is going nuts.
So have you been to Bali previously?
Yeah.
So you're familiar with
I've been all
that's
over.
the scene. You've been there. You're like, that's our trip.
Surfed all over there. I never, like I said, I went for a month, so I did 2 weeks in Nias and Hanakos. We surfed Afulu. We surfed the backside of Nias, like caught it. It's got some unbelievable trip. It was magical. It was magical. But in the back of my head, I kind of felt something. You know, I remember I had warnings, and then they announced on the news that there was an impending terror attack in Indonesia.
Before you went.
Yeah. And so people go, I got a bad. I'm like, so you know, I'm going, oh, come on, you know, I don't know the difference between Democrat and Republic. I don't care about politics. I don't care about terrorism. I didn't believe any of that stuff would happen.
But Bali is more of a multicultural, multi-religion, like kind of an anomaly, like within the 13,000 whatever islands, you know. But like,
it's a surfer's oasis.
But it's a melting pot of the world. It's not like a strictly like anything dominates the religion or the, you know, it's like Asia, Australian, America, you know, like it is a truly like melting pot.
You would think it'd be a safe haven.
But when you go to when you go to other parts of Indonesia, you could tell it's a straight Muslim based on the culture, the people walking around, architecture, like everything is just like that's where you're at.
Yeah.
Bali is, you don't have any of that.
Well, because it's more majority of the Hindu population, and they're just a little bit different. You know, they're more artisans and more receptive, you know, not so strict religious, you know.
Yeah.
So when you did 2 weeks in the Yas area, then you came to Bali the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then
And-
Steve ended up over there. Yeah.
And how many days were you there prior to October 12th bombing?
I stayed the entire month. So we got blown up on October 12th, and my flight was 13, 14. I was coming home that Monday regardless,
Yeah.
and so I was there a month.
So
I was on the boat for 2 weeks and on Bali for 2 weeks.
so going back though, this trip was initially to clean you up, right?
Well, yeah, and
An
of course
intervention.
everybody wants to go surfing too.
Damn
Yeah.
right.
I'm a surfer. I
Yeah.
like it.
But it was like that was one of the purposes
Yeah.
in Steve Webster's mind was
Yeah.
to go over there and get you on
I think it was
on a better
It was
path.
my other friend's mind too. I would imagine I was bloated, just really.
Because you can't really get any of that shit over there. You could drink, and you could surf your brains out and hopefully just kind of.
Yeah, you even have a joint over there. You're going to jail, baby.
Yeah.
It's freaking heavy. Except for mushroom shakes. You can have mushroom shakes.
Yeah.
You want to fry mushrooms.
Amen.
Yeah.
To those.
Lauren knows all about those.
Yeah.
So you're there. You get surprised because you didn't think he was going to come.
No, it was weird. And the hotel that I told him we'd be at, La Long, I think it was, we ended up we were staying at the Barang Hotel, so if he came looking for me, he wasn't going to find me. I just happened to be walking down the street. I heard, I go, he had a big old nose. I go, motherfucker,
Yeah.
You're here, it's your birthday, man. Been surfing Impossible. I surfed Impossibles all day today. It was just 1,000-yard one left, It's like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we were surfing Impossibles and all those spots. It was magical, man. It was the people were great, it was magical. But then I saw this impending doom feeling in the back of my mind,
Yeah.
I really
So did he make it kind of clear to you when he was there that, hey man, you're fucking up? Like,
No, I was doing really good when I got there. I just got off a boat. I went from 220 pounds to 190 pounds. I was a monster. Matter of fact, the doctor said when I came back home, because if you weren't in the shape you're in, no way you'd make
Yeah.
it. You didn't know where you live. So I was in good shape. I was having some drinks, but I wasn't on any drugs.
I'm just asking because the trip was, for him, for you, to get you clean, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't really know that, right?
Well, with Steve, that's all he harped on me about.
Okay.
He's like, dude, you could really do something with yourself, but you're going to die if you don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I did it. It was just, God willing.
Yeah.
So it was always in his mind. He's always, like I'd even be at a bar sometime, wouldn't even know where the hell I was, and he'd show up and take me home, pick me up. He'd find me. Go, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So that day, that Saturday, the 12th, did you guys surf? What was the game plan that night? It's a Saturday night.
Yeah, we surfed Ulu that day. And
How long was he there before?
I was not counting. I don't have. I mean, time just when you're somewhere like that for a month. It's like he was probably there a few days before we got blown up.
Okay.
He showed up just in time for his birthday, type of deal, because he actually wanted. Well, I'll get further. The other guys I was with ended up leaving, but so he was there. I don't know, probably
A few days.
a couple days. Couldn't find me. I found him in the street. Then we started all getting together and going out. And I was done. I'd had my drinks, partied, done what I'd done. I'm tired. I want to get home, And I remember he's like, "Oh no." He goes, "If anything, you're staying longer. It's my birthday." He had a birthday month.
Yeah.
By the way.
So what happens when you get older?
Yeah.
It starts 2 weeks before the date and 2 weeks after. You start, celebrating every day. We're above Dirt's birthday.
So he was there for a couple days, and then
We started going to the clubs at night, and it was kind of crazy because there was an Indonesian gentleman that ran a surf shop that was with us, ended up going with us, and he was like a family guy, and so we're going okay, you know, we're gonna celebrate, tonight's gonna be your birthday celebration. I was like, I didn't want to drink. Normally I'd be like, you know, having Iraq attacks, and you know, and I was like, you know what, I was already in my mind ready to go home. And so the night before this happened, we were at a place called the Bounty, which is across the street, predominantly Indonesian.
Yeah. We stayed at the Bounty.
Yeah.
But it's a bar.
Yeah.
The bar, the Bounty. It's like I've got a boat in the front of it, and so we're over there, and it's like I'm hanging out with this girl that didn't speak English, and I'm just sitting there, and I think I'm smoking, and I got a Jack and Coke, and I'm just totally. And then you know, Steve's sitting over, and he's talking to a bunch of our Aussie friends at the end of the bar, like just out of shot. And I'm standing there with this girl just coming above the dance floor, and all of a sudden, like 4 guys, white t-shirts, just came walking up, and they're just looking at me like you are, and they're just looking at me, and they look like they're smiling. I'm like, if in that part of the world, a lot of the guys just look like they're permanently smiling. It's a very strange thing. It's just the way they look.
Yeah.
And so you don't know if they want to rub your back with oil or cut your throat. So these 4 guys came walking up, and the main guy comes up to me. This was basically a bomb maker. He comes right up to my face, and he spits in my face.
Whoa.
And I don't know about you, I'm gonna knock you out for less. And he goes,
This is the night before?
This is the night before. He goes, fuck you, fuck George Bush, fuck America. He goes, I have family in Iraq and Afghanistan. Why do you want to kill Saddam Hussein? I'll never forget it. I go, what? You know, I'm like, do I punch the, you know, I'm going, man, this guy is scary.
Yeah.
Turns out it was the bomb maker guys in Islamabad Jamia, which is that section of Al Qaeda. So the guy, yeah, it's heavy. And this guy comes up and spits my, I'm going, whoa, you know? And I go, hey, you know, fuck, I was just like, I was freaked out. I'm like, hey, you know, fuck out of whatever. And
So there was already vibes.
no. And this is
Prior
why
to.
later on the FBI, and I didn't understand, the FBI was asking me, why did they come up to you and then blow the club up at 11 instead of 1 and kill that much more?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And it turns out
They couldn't
they
get the
want to kill
car.
Americans.
Yeah.
So I think there was 8 or 9 of us, and 8 died.
Yeah.
So
So
that was the night before.
yeah.
And we got, sorry to interrupt, but we got, because we had a car, and we, you know, they'd have checkpoints everywhere and making sure they just scam money. You know, you have an international driver's license, you know, it's like whatever. And we were at a roundabout, and we got pulled over, you know, or at a checkpoint, and they're like, the officer, you know, the Indonesian officer was like, you know, WCT, all over, like he was rambling like shit that we like didn't.
World Trade Center?
Yeah. Like was saying that. Like this was a day or 2 before.
They knew something.
Yeah.
They knew something.
And we didn't know. I'm like,
It was like underground.
maybe he was
People knew
sending
it
us a
coming.
message.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't know. Like we didn't really understand what he was translating, because it didn't say like the full like, hey, you guys get the fuck out of here, because there's gonna be,
You're
you know,
in danger.
yeah, it was nothing. That was kind of like, that was weird. What was he talking about? It didn't make sense until after, and that's kind of like the.
So
Since
the
that
bomb
he was-
maker himself spit in your face.
Yeah, this was a group of, there was another guy called the Smiling Bomber. These guys, they came right to me, and it was really weird. I'm like, why me? You know, I'm like, I'm like, whoa, you know, I got nothing but, you know, what, you sock this guy and go to jail or get killed or
Yeah,
whatever.
you can't.
And so
And that was the night.
that was the night before at the Bounty across the street from
Yeah.
Centro. So the girl I was with didn't speak English, and she didn't know what was going on. She's like looking around, and I go over to Webster and I go, dude, this, and then these other 2 guys that were on the same trip that came with me, they're sitting over there and they're not paying attention. I go, man, this guy just came over, spit in my face, told me fucking, You
So
know,
are they like wearing their traditional like?
just like clean white shirts rolled up. No, just look like regular guys, but all wearing clean white shirts and like rolled ups. It was just
A dot.
and they came right to me out of all the people in the bar. So I went over to Steve and I go, man, this, and Steve was aloof. Like every time I'd say, I got a weird feeling, something's going on, you know. He'd be like, Crabby, you're trying to bring me down. This is my birthday. I'm here to have a good time. What are you talking about? Nobody's gonna do. I go, this guy just came up and threatened, and I scared the shit out of me. And then my other buddy goes, oh, he goes, wait a minute. And then he walked out and he comes back and he goes, oh, I talked to him. They were just joking. I was like, he didn't talk to him. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, because you had spat on.
Yeah,
in
and it
your
was
face.
gnarly. And it was gnarly. So I'm like, whoa. And so my heart kind of dropped. I got straight sober quick. And I went, wow, that's, you know, I'm getting all the warnings here. And so it even gets worse. So anyway, so I'm like, okay. We end up ending the night. And I was like, so I kind of slept in the next morning. And then I got up and the guys were all leaving. And I go, what are you guys doing? They go, we're going home. That scared them, I think. You know, whatever. They go, we're going home. I go, and then Steve's there, and I go, bro, I want to go home. He goes, fuck, you're not going anywhere. We're celebrating my birthday. I'm like, oh my God. I go, I can't go. Felt like a lane on Seinfeld. I go, I can't, I gotta stay. So those guys left, luckily for them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, in my mind, I'm going, okay, I'm gonna go shopping, grab a few things. I'm gonna get my board bag packed, get stuff. You know, I'll go celebrate his birthday.
When are you supposed to leave?
Monday. We got blown up on Saturday. So I spent, anyway, I'll explain that to you. So it's gonna be his birthday, and I don't want, you know, I'm over it. I'm tired. I don't want to go, and I gotta do it. And so we ended up talking to the guy that ran the surf shop, an Indonesian kid, really nice kid. He's like a surf guy, and had a family there, and he agreed to meet us, and we're gonna all go to the club, to the Sark Club, and we were gonna go early. I was like, dude, I want to be there.
For our listeners, I mean, most surfers have been to Bali.
You don't go up to one.
But the Patties and Sark Club are directly across the street
Yes.
from each other, and it's the epicenter of like
It
the
is.
clubs.
The nightlife.
It is.
The nightlife. There
It's
are
Southeast
other
Asia,
there are other spots, you know, that.
But in Bali, those are the
But
two.
those are the two that dominated the nightlife scene. So you know, you're going to the epicenter.
They wanted to go early.
Steve wanted to go early. So we're sitting around talking with these couple of Aussie girls that were in the same area. We'd see them all the time. They're really, really nice. And I don't even know the names. They dress like, they wore like leopard and tiger. They're super cute and nice. They came in. We went to a stair party, which was like a Circle K.
Yeah.
And the couple that owned the liquor store put speakers out and put this crazy music out there, and so everybody sits there, and then all the cars are cruising around. So I'm sitting there, and my Indonesian friend's here. Steve's here talking to the two Australian girls, just being friendly. It's birthday, we're having a good time. I'm kind of like very sober. Don't want to be there, but I'm gonna be there for my friend. And I look and I see this black Acura coming down the street, and the front windows are blacked out. And and it's a bigger car, like rims, like it doesn't, like all the cars that you see, they're little.
Yeah.
This is a full size Acura, a nice one.
Yeah.
And the front window is black. And so I'm sitting there, and my Indonesian friend is just kind of standing there, and we're kind of saying, Steve's sitting down with the girls, and I'm just watching this car, and then all of a sudden, this guy sticks his head out the window, and he's all, you know, like, and I'm like, I remember I went,
What?
whoa, and my hair's, Steve's not paying attention. He's drinking peppermint schnapps with these girls. And me and my Indonesian friend were just kind of like, whoa.
What did he say?
And yeah, so he's, my Indonesian friend was born in Borneo. He knows all the dialect there. And I remember they pointed at us, and I go, what did he say? To my Indonesian friend, he goes, I'll never forget, he goes, it wasn't Indonesian. And I remember I went, what the fuck? So it was one of those guys, you know, basically saying, you're all gonna die. That's the feeling I got. And then the window, he just sat back in and the window rolled up. And I go, Steve, did you just, he's like, come,
We're partying, right?
he goes, we're going to the club. I go, oh my God. This is like minutes before we got to the club. And so I go, oh my God. And John looks at me, I don't know his Indonesian name, but he looks at me and he goes, sometimes in Bali on a Saturday night, it's better to stay home on the couch and watch TV. I'll never forget that. I went, whoa, and I go, and Steve goes, let's go. And so we're going, and the girls he's with are like, we're gonna go to Patty's.
Yeah.
And we'll meet you guys
at the Sorry.
And so we're all right. And so then we go and
but you all along, all day from the night before, because that what happened.
I'm feeling like I'm walking in tar.
Yeah.
I'm walking on.
You had a bad
I had
premonition.
Yeah. I've always had premonition to save my life, always. And so we get into the Sorry Club, and it's packed. It's like 10:30 at night or so. It's packed, and we get in, and the only spot in the whole area is, if you've been to the Sorry Club, you walk into the right, there's a bar, there's a little skinny spot next to the fence.
Yep.
We were right at the corner of the bar. I was this close to the fence, which was right next to the vehicle. So we're in there, and I'm sitting there trying to, cracking jokes and trying to have fun, and the girls went across the street, and there's other people, these other little Australian girls that I met who were with their parents, and just another guy I knew, just people,
How many
acquaintances.
people were there, you think?
Fuck.
100?
Yeah, easy.
Two. You're talking about like dense.
202 died, and about 300 remained injured from the street. 202 died. So we get in, and we're hanging there, and he's like, man, let's do a drink, do a cheer, do this, that, and the other. And we were there was like horns honking, and then
Which is normal because it's a one-way street.
right,
Everybody's getting out of taxis.
there was incessant horn
Yeah.
honking. What happened was the van had pulled up right next to us and was blocking traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So one guy I heard somebody screaming, and I remember Eminem was playing, Slim Shady or something was playing, it was loud, but I still was totally cognizant, and I could see through the opening, the guard standing on the fence, like a rustle, like some excitement of some sort, like the guy was yelling something, whatever. There was some kind of negative energy going through the area, and I'm watching, and boom, just blew himself up. Fuck. I go, whoa.
You saw somebody get blown up.
The guy that ran in the Patty's pub blew himself up, and it blew all of our electricity out. I remember it burned my eyes and broke my ear. I knew I would believe, it just boom, the concussion I was watching it. So it was like somebody had their fingers on my eyes like this. It flash burned my retinas. So I'm sitting there, none of us. I remember.
So you saw the guy run in?
The guy, I saw the crowd was screaming. He went right. He just went in and just pushed through and stood in the middle of the dance floor and blew himself up. Right there, it's close. You see how close it is?
Across the street.
It's right across the street. And so I'm in the vantage point where I'm watching this. And I went boom, boom. And then, so I remember all the power went off. And all it was a big fire. And I remember I looked back and everybody in the club was just, I remember I was just staring, not a word, because everybody's eardrums just got blown.
Yeah, everyone's in
And-
shock.
And me and Steve couldn't talk. And then my Indonesian friend is like right here in the little walkway between the wall and the street,
Yeah.
the wall and the bar. I'm at the very edge of the corner of the bar like this, and he's standing here. I mean, he's like back against the wall.
Got blown out.
So that's the first bomb. There was two.
So the
That-
first
guy
the
went in
suicide
and
bomber
blew himself up
To get everybody
into.
into the street panic.
That's right. And so we're sitting there, and then about 15 seconds later, the guy hit the switch on the van bomb, which we were probably about 20 feet away from. And put it this way, anybody that was in between there and there, I had viscera, I had veins on, it was gnarly. So my Indonesian friend was just, he was gone. And he was between me and the bomb. And then me and Steve hit our heads really hard. And I remember I went, whoa, you know, we hit our heads. And we're standing there, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and then part of the roof just went right down on everybody. Like it was a palapa. It was, you know, you could step out and be in the rain, and then like corrugated metal.
And you're right on the edge of that.
Yeah, and it just missed me, and it went down. And so I'm like, the second bomb was so big. I mean, it basically just, any bomb that liquidates.
It was a
people.
van full of.
Yeah, 2,500 pounds. And so my immediate thing is
How did not shrapnel not just?
I had a piece of brick. And
No, I know, but like,
I was
again,
just in the spot.
so
And Steve made it too. Steve was farther away from the bomb than me. And then he stood up and they got pinched by the roof. And so automatically, my instinct is like, you know, if a car rolls on your kid, you're gonna try to lift the car up.
Yeah.
So I try to reach for him and pull him out underneath. I'm going, and all this is happening.
Chaos.
And I went to go like this, and the corrugated metal just melted my hands off right the second I did it. I realized like I'm not gonna lift a roof, you know. And then everything's on fire, and I'm totally disoriented, and it blew my eardrums, and so I start to spin, vertigo, like the drunkest you've ever been. I'm going, oh my god! And so everybody's burning and screaming and fucking, you know, just it's gnarly. I'll never forget one of the craziest things I saw. I looked up and I saw a guy walk about 5 steps with no head, and I was like, I mean, it was just I saw the craziest thing. And then remember I told you guys earlier there was two little younger Australian girls, and they were both like on fire. And like because I couldn't get Steve out, and I'm looking, I'm seeing all this stuff happening, and it's all fire, and I'm like, whoa! And I remember I was getting so dizzy and disoriented, I dropped to my knees, and it was weird because there's like a stair step up to the bar, and like I'm down below, and the fire's all around. I remember I was on my hands and my knees, and I was going, wow, I'm in an Al-Qaeda bomb attack. I'm gonna burn to death. I remember going, I go, it's kind of warm. I can do this. You know, I'm gonna burn. And then I thought of my son. I thought of things like, I got up and I just went in the direction I thought I should go. I had a friend of mine that was in a fiery mobile home. And he was there just the night before I left. He goes, if you're ever on a fire, he goes, pick a direction, just go, don't freeze up. And I swear it was just magical that he took me that. And so, yeah, he's burned about 90% of his body. He's one of my best friends. But so I just picked a direction. There was a piece of car or a piece of the fence that was cantilevered on the stairs. And so I'm trying to climb up. It's all fire, you can't see anything. And I'm trying to climb up this thing, and I'm going back into the fire. And I'm climbing up, my fingernails are popping off. I'm trying to crawl up this metal and to get to where I think I need to be. And I was just like, I remember going, oh my God, I can't get out of this thing. I'm gonna burn. This freaking piece of metal won't let me go by. And finally, I just went. I went up the top, and it's like a 5-foot drop or so. I dropped down, and you know, I think that's where I saw the girls burning on the other side of that. It was horrible.
Were you wearing shoes?
I was wearing shoes, and one of my shoes got blown off, and I had all my money. I had a pair of shawshaws on. Do you remember shawshaws with a little hidden drug pocket? I had all my money in one shoe, and one of the bomb, I remember, blew my leg back, like boom, and blew one of my shoes off. So I was. It's weird. I can't believe I wore those shoes out. And I normally I'd be wearing flip flops, and you know, I dressed like this.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw some Hawaiian guys. And I'm like, "Oh, bro, what are you dressed like? You're, you know, what are you?" And I think the sweat and just being in full clothes helped save me too. So I get back to, and I'll show you guys the diagram. There's like a corner. The way the club was set up, it was a big U-turn. The bomb was here, and there's a big U-turn here. And this is all cement and buildings. There's no escape. So when the bomb blasted, it blew everybody back. And there was this big, thick metal fence. And the fire was so hot on the car that it would just singed all my hair, my eyelashes, everything. It was just so hot. I mean, this bomb burned so hot. So I went to where I figured I could have slipping on body parts and people's backs, and just, you saw what those pictures looked like. It was just wreckage, but everything was on fire. And I got back to this corner, and there was a black pole. And I remember I thought, God, you know, there's got to be a scene here. And so I just went crazy. I smashed it, and my back broke. First hit, I broke my scapula in half, like a brick.
So wait, did you climb up that metal thing?
I got up on it. I finally got over it. About the fifth
you
try.
were in the street?
And no, this was still in the club. I'm still stuck in the club, and a lot of the fence is still up. Like the spot I need to get out at was still thick, like big, thick metal fence. You've seen what it looks like. And so I got back to the far corner, as far away from the fire as I could, and I saw this black pole, and so I just went kind of nuts, and I just slammed it, and the first hit broke my back. I felt it snap. I hit it so hard it snapped my back.
Well, you're in
I'm in
crazy mode.
I'm in and I'm spinning. I got vertigo, and so I smashed the fence, and then I hit it like 6 or 7 more times, and it popped it. And I remember I popped it out. And I was able to open that, and then I had so much vertigo, I spilled into the street, and I fall down. I'm just around. It's all body parts. It's just crazy. You know, it's horrible. And so then I look up, and this girl's reach, like I see her hand, and I help pull her. And so people, everybody started to come out of that opening.
Yeah.
And so I've got this crazy vertigo, and I'm just like, I've never had anything like that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know? I got everything exploded. It was just absolute. I spin you in a barrel for an hour. That's what I had to escape with. And so I get on the street, and I'm trying to walk. I get back up, and people coming out around and stuff. And I get out, and I try to walk. I just kept slamming my face on the cement, just smashing my teeth. Like down was up, and up was down. I'm going wham, wham. And I get up, and then I try to get myself up. My back is broken, so I'm going. I'm going, what the fuck is this? So I take another few steps, and this guy's laying on the ground, and he's a white t-shirt and like Levi's or something. And he's an Aussie guy, and he's like, help me, help me. And I go, fuck, yeah, I'm gonna help you. I grabbed his arm and flipped him over, and he was totally gutted, just absolutely, just his whole intestines were out. And so I just said, brother, God bless you, man. I can't help you. And so I kept going. I kept smacking myself, and then I'm going on the sidewalk, and then these 2 other Indonesian dudes are laughing at me. These little fuckers are laughing at me. I clocked this kid so fucking hard with my elbow. I clocked him in the temple. I'm all, fuck you, boom. And I just kept walking. I went as far as I could, and I just collapsed in the street on the sidewalk, and it was just broken glass everywhere. And I just remember looking up at the moon, and I looked at my hands, and I remember I was sitting there, and I go, holy fucking shit, man.
Did you think you had any, like you felt your back break, you couldn't hear, but did you check yourself for like giant
I thought
wounds?
my head was melted off. I thought I was ketchup head. Because my hands were burned. So I'm going, oh my God, I felt my face was so hot. I go, my whole head's melted off. And so I'm going, oh my God, it's melted off because my hands were burned. So I couldn't tell if my head was gone. And so I remember laying there going, God, my head's melted off. And then all of a sudden, like all these people are gathering around, and I'm laying there, and I'm so freaking dizzy, just everything's spinning. And this guy comes out of the blue, and he's this big American guy with a white baseball hat. comes up and I could still hear a little bit out of one of my ears, and he's, whoa, my ears are ringing. I have 2 different pitches of tinnitus. It's crazy. It's horrible. Like, it doesn't ever go away. I have to have something on at night or I can't. So this guy reaches down. He goes, "What's your name, soldier?" And I told him, and he goes, "What happened?" And I said, "They blew us up. All bombs."
Calm.
Yeah, I'm just going. Well, he didn't believe it. He said, No. He goes, "This is a peaceful country." I'll never forget. He goes, "This is a peaceful country. It was probably I go, "There was no propane explosion. They fucking they murdered everybody over there. My friend's in there. I need to get him fucking out." And I'm just starting to go, "Oh my God, my friend's still in there. What am I, I'm like, what do I do?" I'm sorry, guys, I get a little upset. But, so he picks me up and lifts me into a taxi, and I'm like, he's going, what are you feeling? And I said, "I broke my back." And he goes, "I don't think you broke your back." I go, "I broke my fucking back, dude. That's a bomb over there. My friend's in there. What, I'm losing my mind. I'm spinning. I'm throwing up. I've got vertigo. I mean, it's like I'm just vomiting. Just in the car, and just blood's coming out of my nose and my ears." And he tries to take me to a hospital around the corner, and the hospital was all the windows of the hospital were blown up.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't take me. And I was like, he goes, "Man, we got to get him in. He's probably gonna die." I'm going, "Great." And then all of a sudden, this guy jumps in the car, and he's an Indonesian guy. And I'm like, I go, "Fuck you! Get the fuck out of this car, fucker! Who are you?"
Yeah, because you're defensive. You're like, I don't know who's foe or him.
He was my taxi driver's son, but we didn't know. I go, and he spoke with almost a British accent. And I go, "Dude, you speak better. Who is this guy? Get him out, or he's gonna kill me." I kept thinking, fuck you. If you're gonna kill me, whatever. But he ended up helping us get to a hotel somewhere off in the distance, and they took me in and took me to some room, and I was freaking out. I'm still going, "Man, I got, where's Steve? What?" And I kept thinking, I go, I saw where he was.
He's probably under
Where he was stuck, but I go, "Man, he's a badass.
Yeah.
He probably made it."
Yeah.
And I kept in my mind, I kept going, he probably made it. In my heart, I knew he did, but I kept going, he made it. He made it. And so they bring me into this room, and in some hotel, and I go, "Man, I have all my money in one of my shoes." And so the guy with the white hat, he pulls my shoe off and he opens it, and there's all my money. I go, okay, I got my money. He goes, "I'm gonna set your money right here on the table over here." And then the Indonesian kid, the son of the taxi driver, he's all, "I'm gonna go get an Australian doctor." And I guess it was just like an EMT, the Australian guy came in, and I'm sitting there with my teeth, I'm pulling teeth. I mean, it was just crazy. I got veins on me. It's just gnarly. It's the smell of death. It's just, never want to smell that. It was soaked in all my clothes. I was like, flies are buzzing around me. It's just fucking nasty. So he comes in, and I remember like so much blood was coming out of my ear that I remember looking at my pillow, it was just soaked on it. And my father was a fireman, remember he was a paramedic. And he said, "If you're bleeding out of your ears, you're gonna die." Oof. And he goes, "If you're bleeding out of your ass, it's even worse." And I was thinking about that. I remember I reached down and blood was coming out of my ass too. I was internal bleeding. I was like, "Oh my fucking God." And so this guy's the Australian AT guys, he's going, "Yeah, we gotta, you need to get you out of here. You gotta do this." I go, "I'm not going anywhere until I find my friend. Steve. I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah.
I became fucking Rambo. I was like, I just got a different way of thinking. I go, I can't just abandon this and go sit in a hospital somewhere. I gotta do what I gotta do. And so these guys, a bunch of people from other countries all of a sudden were gathered around me in this bed, in this room, and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck anybody is. I go, "Somebody give me a beer." I remember thinking, and they're like, "You want a beer?" I go, "If I'm gonna fucking die, I want to drink a beer." And they're like,
Yeah,
It's
"All
still
right."
spinning too?
Oh, dude.
You had no idea,
It was
like,
horrible. There's just no way I should ever even have been even where I was.
Can
And
I
so-
ask you a couple questions? Like,
Go ahead.
so the bomb explodes across the street.
Yeah.
How many seconds after?
15 seconds.
15 seconds,
Then
boom.
the guy hit the switch in the van.
And then when that thing fell, the roof fell on Steve.
Yeah, and everybody else on the dance floor.
How long did it take for you to try to get up off that thing and get out?
Well, as soon as I tried to lift the thing off Steve and I burned my hands, I dropped to my hands and knees and saw people burning and the guy with no, it's all that, it happened, everything was so quick.
Yeah.
God, it couldn't have been more than a couple minutes. You know, everything was so, it was like, boom, you're going to die, you're going to burn to death. You know, you make a wrong move and you're dead.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, when I was on my hands and my knees, I was like in this fiery coffin. And I remember saying to myself, this is it. And then I just thought about my kid, I go, you know what? Thought about what my friend said. And I just got up and moved.
And so you make it out, this almost like a knight in shining armor with a white hat on.
Yeah. And I still don't know who he is. Somebody told me he was a photographer for National Geographic. And he still never,
Put
he
you
never
in this taxi.
got me in a taxi, got me away from all this, took me to a hotel. First took me to the hospital, they wouldn't take, there was no room.
Yeah.
And then took me to the hotel, got me in, those guys got me in, a doctor looked at me, and the doctors, you know, I could still, they're like going, oh man, this guy's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
And I go, fuck it. And I could still hear enough and tell their body movements enough to where I'm going, hey, if I'm gonna die, give me a fucking beer. You know, I don't know why I did it. I don't know why, it was crazy. So all these people around me and the EMT, everybody's going, we gotta get, I remember people going, we gotta get over and try to help survivors, get people out, and they're gonna triage people. People had their skin melt, they're putting them in the pools. They couldn't do anything, their skin was all melted off them, putting them in the pools. So I remember he said, he's bleeding out of his ears, don't let him go to sleep. And that's the last thing I remember. And then I woke up and I had flies all over my face. And I was like, nobody was in the room. And my money was gone. My shoe was gone with my money. And I was like, fuck, fucker stole my money, man. Fuck, I don't know where I'm at. My friend's dead. I got guts all over me. I remember I ripped my shirt off, just ripped the shirt, it stunk so bad, flies all over it and crap. And I got up and my whole pillow was just blood. The bed was blood. I was bleeding, ears and ass. And I walked out and this little girl, little bang, she was super cute. She goes, oh my God, bomb's so big. She goes, everybody dead. Body parts smell like burnt fish. I'm
Wow.
like, oh my God. I look and there's these guys crouched down staring at me. I'm like, what, motherfuckers? Because I don't know who's, you know, I gotta fight again? What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, and they're just crouching looking at me like, fuck, this guy's a ghost, you know, whatever. And then, so I go into the lobby when there's like a yellow tablecloth and everybody's eating these weird little sandwiches, those weird little pressed sandwiches and tea. And I look up on the TV and it's like up to 88 dead. There's like a ticker tape on the bottom. And I'm looking for names. I'm going, and then everybody's looking at me like they've seen a ghost. You know, I'm just sitting there, blood just dripping out, fucking no shirt.
Yeah. How did you survive the night, right? Like
I just dozed off for a couple of hours, and then I remember saying to myself, my money's gone. I'm gonna give this guy till 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever, to give me my money back. I can't leave and not have my money. And so I went in and I sat down. I go to the guys. I go, where's the guy with the white hat? And they're like, oh, you know, you gotta leave. You know, I'm bleeding on their fucking table. I go, I'm not going anywhere. You know, blood just dripping on the fucking table. They're eating their food, drinking their tea, going, yikes. And I'm looking at this ticker tape going, oh my God, you know, this is so gnarly. I don't know where I'm at. I'm dizzy. I can't think. My brain got shattered. I'm like, and then right as I'm ready to just start walking down the street, he pulls up. He's got a camera. You looking at some of this stuff?
I'm looking at photos, yeah.
He's got a camera, and he goes, I remember he goes, starts clicking pictures of me, and he had my shoe. He goes, here's your money. I go, oh my God, thank you. I go, where am I? What? I gotta go find Steve. You know, I gotta just help me. And
Check everywhere.
well, it gets heavy. And so then I'll never forget, he looks at me, he goes, it's gonna take you years to figure out what you just lived through. And he goes, I know you broke your back. He goes, you helped some people made it out because of that place. I was like, okay, whatever. You know, I wasn't trying to be a hero. I was trying to save my own ass. And by saving my own ass and helped others, good. You know, I don't try to play a hero. I mean, it wasn't that way. So he takes me back to the hotel, and there was another guy that we knew that was at the pool during this time, and he was friends. He knew Steve, and he comes up and he goes, "Oh, Crabby," he goes, "they said one of you guys was alive. I knew it was you." And I go, "Oh my God, you know, whatever." And then the hotel security guard comes down and he goes, "Mr. Steve, your wife's on the phone."
You're not.
I didn't have a wife. It was Steve's wife. So I got on the phone with the little I hear, and I said, "You know, I'm gonna be Bruno. I don't think he made it. You know, you know, I don't think he made it." She goes, "You got to go look for him." And so that's when I went to the Indonesian kid that came, and a couple of other Indonesian kids that were friends of the other Indonesian kid that perished, all came to help me get through the talking points of the hospital and the morgue. And so I'm sitting here, I still got gasoline. I got in my hotel, I threw on a t-shirt, still just I mean,
Toast.
yeah, and they took me to the hospitals, and so I was going through every hospital. I think we went to like 3 hospitals. I was going through the rooms looking for them, you know, and opening doors and lifting blankets back, and it was hard.
Fuck.
And then
Did you go to the club first and like?
no, I knew that they had already gotten
Clean the-
They would have evaporated, you know,
They'd already gotten-
extracted anybody that was survivable.
And so I
Couldn't find them.
no, I went to the Shangri-La, I think it was called, hospital, went through all those things, and then as soon as we walked through the door, it was just bodies lined up with blocks of ice on them, just flies all over, you know, you're just like, fuck. And I remember I walked in, I saw bull legs, and I go, oh my, you know, I can't tell you what it's like when you're looking for somebody and you're expecting to find them. You just almost think you see him every single person you're looking at.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, he's got a, you know, he's a white guy with blonde hair, bull legs, you know. And so I just ended up going, the first area was just white tiles with people with blocks of ice on the chest. And then the next room was just, you know, just pieces. So I was in there I'm ripping bags.
Looking for tattoos or any
No,
symbols.
it was horrible. And I saw some of the people that I knew in there. I saw some of the people I knew that were in the morgue, or in this homemade morgue. And I looked as much as I can. There was, just say, a lot of people got decapitated. There was a lot of, it was tough. And I went as far as I could, and I couldn't, you know, I gave up. I just couldn't take it. And so we,
That's the day after.
yeah, I still didn't get it, you know, my hands are melted off. I'm like, I don't know how I did it. It was just mental. I just kept going. And so then I'm with the guys in the van, the Indonesian guys who were helping me, and we're driving, and I see McDonald's sign. I go, I just want to be
Yeah,
safe.
yeah, probably
I
haven't
want to feel
eaten-
safe.
Yeah.
Well, not just, it wasn't to eat. It was just I wanted to just hide. I wanted to be
McDonald's
safe.
was your safe haven.
Yeah, and so I went there. I actually ordered food, and it was crazy because there was another television up above my head here, and it was ticker taping and it was showing really graphic stuff. I look over and there's this guy in a black turban, like right across, really about as close to that second pot, and his energy was so bad, and I was like, I tried to just turn it away, and got up and he moved, and he got closer.
Oh my gosh.
I looked over and he rolled up his sleeve, and he had an American flag burning on his arm, and he goes,
Wow.
points up. I'm going. I mean, I got chills right now. Just like, I go, oh my god! I told these guys, and my little buddies wanted to go get sticks and pound them, man. They're like, man, let's, and so I go,
The deep
I
nutrients,
got up and I get me out of here, and we went. We got in the van. I'll never forget. We were backing out, and he was standing there laughing, and the McDonald's sign was over his head. I remember just going, "Get me off this freaking island!"
What the fuck?
And you couldn't. Everything was locked down.
No, and the thing was too. You gotta remember, I got broken eardrums. I'm gonna fly. I got this thing right here is in a sack. Your scapulars are in a sack, and they in the air they can explode. I mean, that's what the Australian doctor told me. So I got back, and
Can I stop real quick?
Yeah.
Like, what you just went through physically and mentally is so like bizarre hell on earth.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just so traumatizing. Like all the different, you know.
It's what war
Yeah, I mean,
is.
dude, like he himself, his body has just torn into shreds, shrapnel, right?
It changed every chromosome. It went through my body and changed every element.
And what I mean, I'm talking about your body, right? Your physical body, and then your mental state, what you're going
Visual.
through.
Let's go back. Remember what I told you when I was a kid, and I had that elimination
Yeah.
where I could go out of my body?
Yeah.
That's how I survived in that situation. I was very calm, super calm. I go, I've got to get out. I've got to break this spot. I got to get out. And so I was just super calm, and that was the mechanism that I created when I was a child.
The fucked up thing too is like your mind, right? You're like instantaneously, you don't know who is your enemy and who is your friend.
Like I said, who wants to rub your back and who wants to cut your throat?
Yeah. So you're like, you know, you're worried about everything. Like, oh shit, what's this guy gonna do to me? Oh shit, who is this
But
guy?
you know what? When you get a level of fear like that, it goes the other way. You
You're
actually
fearless.
become calm.
Yeah.
You actually go, okay, what's coming? Just like I told you, when I walked out of that room, these guys are crouching, staring at me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Do it. I'll fight to the death right now. I already died.
That's the that mental anguish and like the psychological you know, warfare that's going in your head because you're mourning over a friend, right? You're hoping, fuck, he might have made it. He could be alive. Like,
Thinking about him suffering
Yeah.
somewhere, burned, or needs my help.
but
I
you're
can't
thinking
go
he
there.
might be alive, and you're like hoping, right, and
Yeah.
praying that, oh my God, I hope Steve Webster's, you know, at a hotel.
That's just
Never
like you
know.
were pulled away somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just got to connect. You know, that's what your driving force is, to kind of, you know, stay super
then
calm
going-
and focused. Like, I got to find my friend.
Going to these hospitals and looking through body bags and looking through.
Oh, I'm a different person. I'm a different person. I was just, I've never seen such disrespect for the human body. It was just absolutely, I mean, I still, you know, I can't sleep at night. Still, it's really hard for me.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I'm still traumatized enough from it.
So, my account of that
night is we're 1 degree of separation, which is like fucking
So
wild,
crazy.
which is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So I'm on my honeymoon. We're going for 2 weeks. First week, we're up at the Ritz-Carlton. Me and my wife got a ballet. We're doing it like legit.
Stop.
I don't want to see anybody. I'm gonna freaking hang out with my wife and get room service and strawberries and champagne dropped to her
Cool.
freaking room every day. The second week, so that was our first week, you know, and this is, you know, my wife's been there a couple times with me prior to, and I've spent like years and years and years going there. Like my best friends are running everything over there.
Yeah. Result tangible.
I go and I'm like, I'm in with the crew, you know? And the first week we're staying, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do our honeymoon. Second week, we wanna come hang out with all of our friends and party and have a great time. And part of our wedding gift was Rizal and Chandra, his wife, they own, you know, his family has a hotel, Un's Hotel, like 2 blocks away. And part of our wedding gift's like, hey, we got you, just come stay, whatever you guys want. Like, second week is on us. We check out on a Saturday. We get there on a Saturday, we check out of Ritz-Carlton on Saturday morning, and we're fired up. We're ready to go party with our friends. We're fucking pumped, you know? We're like, Saturday, we just been cooped up, we're ready to go like hang. And we check in and everybody's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And we're like, I don't know, let's go out tonight.
Yeah.
And you know, we got shrimp shakes down the street, we got a handful of freaking ecstasy in one hand, and we have a bunch of fucking weed, you know? And we're like, well, let's just go let's go eat dinner. Let's go to, we know this killer sushi restaurant and whatever. So we fucking smoke a bunch of weed, which is you know, again, it could have gone like, fuck dinner, let's just drink and go fucking party, you know? And then we're like, you know what, let's just, you know, smoke, we go drink, we have a killer dinner, and we get out, it's like 10-ish. Well, it's fucking too early to go out. So we go back to the hotel. They have like residents on the fucking hotel property. So they got like their own apartment, like fucking Batat and Marlon, they go and fucking fire up fucking PS4 and they're fucking playing video games. Other people, people are just hanging around the hotel drinking, and we're like, it's fucking hot, we're gonna go back to our room and just chill for a little bit. So we're fucking laying in our room, like just, you know, obviously we're not going out.
Yeah.
Like you said, hour later, 2 hours later, twice as many people would have been dead.
Oh yeah.
Easily. Like 11 o'clock, it's like, we don't roll out till midnight.
I wouldn't know they would go out to 1 or something.
Yeah, midnight's like, so we're cruising in the hotel room. You talked about propane tank, like, you know, or people ask you.
Yeah.
I'm laying there, I'm kind of like dozed off. Lady's like, we're just laying in the bed, like just, you know, somewhat just food coma and just hanging out, like waiting like to knock on the door to go out. You know, we're just kind of in chill mode. And the blast, I could only imagine where you're at and what you felt, because what I felt was instant death. What I felt was not a vibration, a sound, a feeling that was like normal. And the first thing that came to my thought was like, something really bad.
Just happened.
Without even knowing. Like you felt this energy, and it was like so powerful. And again, you hear glass break, you hear like, it was like an earthquake. And I didn't hear any screaming, it was just like a rumble and like a shockwave. Like literally, like I didn't even know what a shockwave was. Like, and the first thing that came to my mind was, holy shit, the propane tank in the restaurant that's like fucking 40 feet away from us fucking blew up. You know, and I come running out, come out. My wife's like, hey, what's going on? And I kind of diffused it, like, cause I didn't know what the fuck's going on. I'm like, hey, I think the restaurant propane tank blew up or something. So I kind of just, and everybody came out, and nobody knew. And the fucking boys get on their fucking scooters, you know, because by then they see that their phones are going off before they, you know, the fucking circuits got, shut down, and they got on their freaking scooters. They take off. They're like, don't leave. You know, there's like most places, there's like one, it's a compound, there's like one entrance. You know, one guy comes back like 10 minutes later. and he calls for reinforcement, like extra security, and they're like, you're not fucking, no guests are allowed to leave, like you're in fucking lockdown, like, and we couldn't even get like real answers. Like, you know, they didn't know if it, again, like the restaurant at the club or something blew up too. They didn't think it was like a terrorist attack, a bombing. And so we kind of didn't know all the information. And then a couple more scooter guys, you know, that kind of took off, came back, and they're just like, they couldn't even explain it.
Yeah.
They're like, many people dead, fucking people, you know, burning, people, like, it's like they said, sorry club and Patty's club, everything's leveled. Like, everything's gone. And we're like, and then like the rumors start happening, you know, like, hey, it's a bombing. You know, it was geared at, you know, like the West and Americans and whatever. And it was like the gnarliest night ever, because here I am on my honeymoon. My wife's, I kind of protected her by not giving her like the whole intel. I'm like, what is she gonna do, you know? And I felt so helpless, because I'm like, I'm able to go like run down there and help people, but just like you, there might be a fucking target on our heads.
Yeah.
If you're fucking, you know, you're white and you're leaving, and all my friends are like, you're not leaving the fucking place. Like, there's no, like, nobody's leaving, and you're like this feeling of like,
helplessness.
for sure, like, I gotta go help, you know, but
you
am I gonna, you know, sacrifice my life, you know, like, it just, nobody knew what the fuck was going on. And it was so eerie and so crazy. And the next morning, again, it was like, you know, then there was rumors that there was a bombing, you know, like there was bombings elsewhere in the island, you know, that they're targeting other, you know, other places. And
there's more coming.
And there's more coming. And, you know, we were just like,
get me out of here.
And you can't, and everything was locked down. Island was locked down, but we were like the decision at like 6 in the evening or 5 or 4 or 8, like, of, you know, going down one route of partying versus another life or death decision, you know, and to this day we're just like, you know, why, you know, like, you can't, you know, like, obviously it wasn't.
How about my 2 friends that were there that got up and left that morning? They're just like, they're so, and then, and you know, I also had, somebody came to me and gave me, one of the Indonesians told me that the Al-Qaeda guys were gonna come and find me and kill me still. Well, I'm like, go ahead.
And that was the thing, is like, I mean, we didn't leave the hotel for a good 2 or 3 days, and we, you know, luckily we were able to get a call out like a couple days later, because again, like, everybody's wondering if we're fucking dead or not, you know, like, everybody
over here.
And everybody knows those spots, and we've been there, and everybody's like, oh fuck, like, there's a good chance they're there, you know. And it was so fucking heavy, so heavy.
So going back to Crabby,
dude,
fucking day 2 of the day after, you're like,
well, I really had some, you know, the whole time I'm thinking I'm gonna die, because I'm still bleeding. Yeah, I'm still bleeding everywhere. I'm dizzy. My back's broken. It cracked my sternum too. Like, I felt when the bomb went through me, like I still have to go once a month and get all my ribs set so I can breathe. This side of my sternum doesn't work. This side of my ribs just keep tangling. They're tangled. Like, so I have to go, and she has a little thing, and she goes, keep. It puts all my ribs back in so I can breathe. It's fucking gnarly. But
from the
bomb, I felt it go through me and just kind of crack me.
Dude, like I said,
and that was 20
years ago.
Yeah.
I'm still screwed.
The power of that blast, and like I said, if you're 40 feet from the car, the fact that you're here, it's a fucking miracle.
I'm a ghost. And that's what that guy with the white hat said. He goes, you're a fucking ghost.
Yeah. So white people, you know, you didn't want to be seen in public. You didn't know what you know, like, again, we were terrified. We couldn't get out. We wanted to leave. Everything was shut down. And like 3 or 4 days after, we ended up like, we got to get out. We got to go to a beach. So we went to Canggu, and And we get there and we're hiding, you know, the whole car ride, we're like just hiding, you know, like in the car.
How fucked up is that?
It was so fucking scary. And so I'm like, I gotta get to the beach. I gotta get out of this hotel. Like, I gotta, you know, like, and this big Australian bloke, you know, he was at the table right on the beach, little tables at the beach. And, you know, he was like head down, and you know how they have those like Australian boots and stuff, like a big rugged Australian dude. And I'm like, he was looked up and he's like, looked at us and he's like, guess you guys weren't there, you know, like, cause most everybody was there. And I'm like, no, we were fucking, yeah, close. And he's always there. And we're like, how are you here? You know, just like you. Fucking homeboy was taking a shit at the fucking, in the toilet, all cement, and it blasted, and the wall blew and hit this wall and left him like a little fucking triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all, I would never ever take a shit at fucking that club or anywhere. He's all, but I had to go, like so bad.
The shit that saved his life.
Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, luckily, like most people are out, and that's why I asked about your shoes, like what were you wearing and stuff, because you know he had those big clog like boots, you know, Australian like Outback boots, and he's all, you know, luckily I had these boots. He's all, I came out, and same thing, like.
Was he at the patio or sorry?
He was at the Sorry Club, and he was like, I came out, like, you know, just a lot of descriptions of what you were just going through, like, didn't know fucking what, this, that, and, you know, of course he was okay. Like, he didn't have any, like, major, like, trauma except some fucking bruises and scratches and some burns and stuff. And he
probably
was...
shit his pants.
Well, yeah, he was already there, but, you know, he was one of the people, he's like, I just, anybody moving, anybody talking, anybody screaming, anybody whimpering, I was like going and fucking like grabbing them and pulling them out. He's like, I was grabbing people and they just slide out of me. They're fucking so burned. He's like, every time I went to pick somebody up, they would fucking just all their skin would pull off. And he's all, you know, and he got to a point where he's just like, if they were fucking making a sound, if they're moving, they were saving. And he just said he was just like carrying body after body. And it was like the fucking heaviest shit. And then the next day we saw one other dude. He was at the bar, and he was ordering a drink and he dropped his money. And as soon as he dropped his money and bent down below the freaking bar, the fucking place blew out. And he said he was
his ears weren't hurt?
Oh no, he was same thing. Like he was, I mean, he didn't take any of the blunt force, but yeah, he was fucked, you know?
So nuts.
He was so fucked, but he was like, the fact that like these little, you know, people that are there, like you're right there, like other people were blown apart, and he's all, I dropped below the bar because I dropped my money, and as soon as I dropped below the bar, explosion happened. And it was like,
that little accident,
and it was like, and those are the only two people like we talked to that were like there outside of the perimeter, that, you know, we're all kind of secondhand, you know. And it was like, holy shit, like we were so scared that we weren't even be able to like leave. We didn't know if like there was bounties, like for, you know, we heard multiple other bombings, we heard they're gonna go for, you know, like they're certain, you know, we didn't know if there was a fucking 1,000 of those fuckers like cruising, you know, the sea. Yeah, or whatever. We didn't know who they were. Yeah, it was so crazy.
So, Crabby,
so nuts.
Second day, you go through the morgues, you don't find Steve.
I went as far as I could, you know.
Yeah.
And I had severely burned hands, and it was really weird because it was like just big green blisters where the skin wasn't missing. It was just big green. Like I remember going, I'm never gonna have fingerprints again. You know, this was a really bad one right here. It's where I like tried to lift the roof, but and I didn't get into a doctor. And so one of my Indonesian friends, he's all, he goes, I got somebody, they're going to help you. I go, the doctors? He goes, well, kind of. I go, all right. So he brings me this thing. And it's weird, like a little group was following us and brought me down below into this place. And it was like a little old man, a little old lady. And she's got a bottle of rubbing alcohol. And he's got a pair of scissors. Ouch. And they just started cutting the skin off my hand. I was like, oh my, because they say you can't leave that on there.
Yeah.
Infected.
Infected.
And I kept thinking,
You got
because of my
irritated.
hair, I kept thinking I was going to get gangrene in my brain. Like I was like, oh my God, dude. And the whole time I'm going, I'm definitely going to die. But when?
Yeah.
Because
You haven't seen a doctor, and you're healing. You're like not getting any medicine or like treatment.
Yeah. And the thing about me, which was different, was like you said, people's skin was pulled up. I looked semi-okay. My damages are more internal. Brain, teeth,
Ears.
chest, ribs, back, ears. These are still all shattered. They're all, if you look close, they're all got cracks. Only ones I have left are these. All the rest are all.
So the explosion shattered your teeth?
Between that and me smashing my head when I had vertigo.
Oh my God.
And then I forgot to throw in the extra one while I'm getting my head smashed. The cars are blowing up. The gas tanks are blowing up right next to me. So I'm next to cars blowing up. So I don't have any idea how much more damage.
And that was part of like our situation too, is we kept hearing explosions, like we kept
Because the
hearing.
cars were blowing up all the time.
And we figured there were, we didn't know, like other bombs. We
I
didn't
thought
know.
they were dropping bombs from a plane.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember after it first happened, it felt like debris was just bricks were just raining down. And then I had the same feeling that you had. I remember thinking when I broke the fence down, they're just gonna be with guns just picking me off.
Yeah.
And I was
you're like, what is going on right now?
well, I knew what was going on, but I just didn't know
At what extent
how
and
hunted
how-
I was, and then at one point I'm like, fuck it. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. It's like, everybody's got that date on their head. So they cut the skin off. I got that done. I got myself together, and then I was leaving. Say Sunday, whatever. I just got the hardest thing for me was going back to our room because Steve and I were sharing the room, and seeing all his thongs and his towel and his booties and his boards and everything, and having to pack stuff up, and so I'm like, finally we were able to, I think it was Monday, we were able to finally go to the airport, and I'm not thinking about it, but I got broken eardrums, I'm like, when you fly, what happens, how your ears pop. So I had a perforated, I think it's called cochlea in my left ear, where balance fluid is, and so I think I probably damaged myself a lot worse as far as my vertigo, and I still sometimes I get vertigo and I'm sick for 3 weeks or a month. I can't walk, I can't move my head, and that's one of the worst things. Is the vertigo got worse when I came home. By the time I got home, I couldn't even move my head an inch without just vomiting, and my hands were blown off, so I couldn't shit, I couldn't change my clothes, I'm still bleeding. I was like, fuck, man, and I couldn't hear.
When did you have to fly home?
I finally, so on the fly home,
but like how many days after? 'Cause
Monday.
You couldn't leave, right?
I got to leave Monday.
Yeah, maybe because he was injured.
Yeah,
like
they
we
put me
weren't
through.
injured,
They
so
put me
we-
through, and I had to go through a physical, kind of a quasi.
Yeah, because Australians sent flights for the injured and flew them back.
They were gonna send
They
me-
were sending planes of picking up injured people. Like
They were going to take me
sent
to
a bunch.
Perth. They said, well, the doctor was checking. It was like a militant doctor.
Yeah.
And he's like, man,
They shut down the ports. They shut down everything. It was like
Yeah.
the island. Like they wanted to capture these people, but also like only
Yeah.
flights were for rescue and,
Yeah.
and medevac.
So he looks at my ears and he goes, "You feeling dizzy, mate?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, you got some problems." And then he goes, "What else?" And I showed him, and he goes, "Oh man, you broke." Because that bone's in a bag. He goes, "They're known to explode in the air, explode from pressure, because it fills with fluid. It's in a sack. Their shoulder blades. I didn't know that." And so I'm going, and then so he goes, we'll take you straight away to Perth. I go, I'm not going to fucking Australia. I want to go home.
Yeah.
You know? And so he goes, well, and I go, you know, I could die up there or I could die down here. I'm going home. And I didn't realize, as I'm lifted off in the airplane, my ears are just going, my nose is I'm going, everybody's just looking at me going, fucking man. I'm just going, I didn't realize, but all that fluid, all that stuff was getting squeezed out, which probably made it a lot worse for me in the long run. If I would have been able to stay and let it.
Was there a lot of people on that plane?
Yeah, there was people on the plane. Like I said, there was an Aussie guy sitting next to me. And then the doctor said, whatever you do, don't say bomb on a plane.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I go, okay. And then it's just the most ironic thing was probably the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. I don't give a shit what nationality was. I was on Singapore Airlines, there and back. And I've never been on a flight where I had the same flight attendant twice.
No way.
And she's the one that comes up to me. She's so beautiful. And I can look at her like, oh! You know, she's like one of those. And she goes, what has happened to you? And I said, the bomb. And so we're flying. I've got all this shit coming out. I'm just wiping the blood. There's nothing I can do. It's just coming out. And she goes, like as soon as I said that, people on the plane were going, yikes. And then she split. And I look and I see the captain look through around the curtain at me. I'm going, oh my God. The Aussie next to me goes, man, because you can't say bomb on a plane, mate.
He's got no eardrum, so he yelled it probably.
Yeah, and I yelled it. And so,
There's the bomb!
yeah, and so I'm thinking, you know, I'm gonna go to Taipei or wherever, and they're gonna fucking load me out to a jail. I remember I was kind of going, oh my God, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And it was funny because they came and they picked me up, and that's when, remember I told you guys, they took me in and wheeled me away. Brought me a
Singapore?
Sprite, right, yeah, there's in Sprite, Singapore. Got me a Sprite, and they're wheeling me down thing. That's why I grabbed the newspaper. I showed you guys the Singapore Times. And the lady brought me in and shot me morphine. She said, shh. She gave me morphine. So I'm back on the plane. Singing and just higher than freaking Hades. I don't know what the hell. She just gave me morphine. Got me fucked up, man.
Is morphine heroin?
It's
gnarlier.
It's gnarly.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's a form of kind of similar, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not a druggie, but yeah.
So then we'll, you know, I mean, that's a 24-hour flight, 27 hours, I think, you know. It was gnarly. And then I get back home, and I don't realize it's a pretty big deal, you know.
Yeah.
I land, I'm still just like, I still kept bleeding. I'm going, what the hell, man? Am I gonna, you know? I kept waiting to die, you know. And then a couple of agents met me as soon as I landed, and they're like waking me up, hey, you know, there's a big group of people waiting for you. And I thought he was talking about my family. And I go, who? And they go, well, Fox News, Rolling Stone. And I'm like, what? I go, what about my family? I was going through my chick kind of broke up with me while I was over there. I had a couple of traumatic things happen while I was over. And so I'm coming home to nothing. And so one of the agents goes, yeah, it's your son and your girlfriend. I'm going, which girlfriend? And it was the one that we had broken up, and she was there, and then they said, well,
How old is your son?
32.
No, then.
Oh, he was minus now till 2002.
12.
Yeah, he's just a little guy. I showed the newspaper that he's hugging me when I'm in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
But I told him, I go, you know what? Because I just had the worst thing. As easy as they blew us up, I kept thinking, that's gonna be super easy to blow up any place.
Yeah.
And so they said, you know, there's all these news things. And I said, I'll talk to all of them. And I went out there, I couldn't make sense of, I couldn't hear, couldn't put two and two together. It was kind of horrible. But I did that, took care of that, and then they told me, Angel's going to World Series. You know, so there was one little bright light at the end of all this hell.
Yeah.
And then I finally got to the doctor, Hoag Hospital, and they're like, x-rayed me, showed me all the stuff, and then obviously told me, doctor's like, you know, you're screwed for, you know, you're
Not gonna surf, not
Yeah.
gonna sing,
Yeah.
not gonna
And
do
I'm like, great.
Music and surfing's done.
It's a grim reaper. I lost everything, man. I lost everything. I couldn't fucking hear. This left ear was completely deaf, 100%. As time went by, I noticed that this ear was completely gone. And months later, anyway, it was just weird. Months later, I was eating at the Yard House, and it came back.
No way.
And I started crying.
You remember the minute
I
at
started
Yard
crying,
House?
like it was like the angels are just singing right
Was
now.
it like when you walk, like when it pops, like and all of a sudden, like if you have like that surfer's ear and you're
Yeah,
underwater, and all of a sudden you could hear a little bit,
I could hear.
like a little bit, or
Like, I can hear that.
My eyes are watering. I'm like, my God.
Yeah.
I can hear. And so
That's just like a simple thing in life that you can't live without.
you know, like
When
Wow.
you lose it,
yeah.
I
I've got another. You mentioned surfers here. I've got like 98 and 94 closure. I've been surfing 52 years. Yeah. So I'm like
we're the same.
the doctor actually said, you know, you got that bony growth down there, so it probably helped you keep your hearing. I was like,
Right.
woo! Surfing saved me.
it was all
Yeah,
built
through a
up.
catechism of freaking. I mean, think about
Surfers
it.
are saved by hearing.
I mean, I let my girl look at my ear and she's like, yikes. That thing's like this big. Yeah.
So what, like you come back and then they give you the bad news of like,
Well,
obviously you had to know like,
Yeah.
I am fucked.
Yeah.
Ears,
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
you know,
And
Your
and
friend is gone.
yeah.
and they finally located him and
They fly his body back and everything, and
yeah, and then we did a paddle out for him and all that, and then I mean, my God, I was just like, I was so sick, like I had permanent vertigo, for like a couple months where I couldn't move my head even an inch. I would just go. I mean, I would just be like, just woo, 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 woo. I still, like I said, I still get it sometimes.
I can't understand
I don't.
what that
It is the gnarliest thing you could ever
So
have, because
crazy.
you're sweating and you're throwing up and the worst thing for me was, for a while I realized that when I tried to sing, even like just a few years back, I got a vertigo. I realized when I try to sing, the pressure on my ears would give me insane vertigo. So driving home from practice was like I drank a gallon of vodka. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even see, I can't even drive, I'm gonna fucking die. And then it just stays as long as it wants to, and it's gone. And it's like you can't ever remember having it, but I still get it sometimes.
What a weird fucking. Because that's an inner ear thing, right? Vertigo?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
then-
it's like your fluid.
It's a balance mechanism.
It is.
And I lost most of it in this ear. And then one of the hardest things was like, when I try to explain what traumatic brain injury is like. It's like, say all your memories are on a dinner plate. I just grab them and go, "Bam!" like that. That's what that bomb did to me. Like I couldn't. I still have cracks.
Together.
Like a couple times I got lost where we're talking and I don't remember what I'm talking about. So I get voids that are still there from the traumatic brain injury. But if you see a lot of the Iraqi soldiers, a lot of the soldiers that are on a lot smaller bombs are a lot more screwed up as far as the traumatic brain injury goes. I think I really fought through it hard.
Dude.
Well,
I
obviously.
fought through it like a demon.
The fact that you have
Obviously.
all your fingers, you have your eyesight, you can hear, you're
Kind of,
you know.
kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But I mean, I've toured the U.S. since then, and in the band, I've fucking recorded 4 albums.
so did you come back and then dive back into drugs, or were you just cold sober?
I did.
Because you had to cope, right?
I did.
You
I
had
did.
to.
I was really messed up when I first came back. Because here I was like this quasi-celebrity too, where everybody knew who I was from being. So I'd go out to the bar, and everybody's like, dude. And then I'm so broken that I'd be sitting at a bar and I'd just start crying my eyes out. Everybody's like, oh my God, get this guy out of here. I couldn't control myself. Yeah. Still to this day, sometimes I'll hear songs and it just triggers me. And people look at me like, what's wrong? I go, fuck, I don't know, man. I just, certain triggers just trigger. And then for a while I would be, because I'm a musician, I'd be at clubs. The worst thing I had was flashbacks. I'd be at clubs, and I gotta tell you how I healed myself. I'd be at clubs and all of a sudden I'd look around, I'd go, this is just like the night. Boom, everybody's dead but me. And so like I'd get up and I'd dedicate a song to Steve in my metal band, and I'd go, you know what? 2002, October 12th, I was in a club just like this. I explained what happened, and then I dedicate the song to Steve, and people are always tripping out on that. But I went through like I was trying to tell him, when you have this level of post-traumatic stress, it feels like you've had nightmares where you wake up and it takes you a while, you go, whoa, that was gnarly.
Yeah.
Well, what happens with post-traumatic stress, at least the level that I have, nightmares blur with reality and you don't know what's real. It's like, you could tell me, I could find out later I'm really dead and all this is bullshit. And I go, yeah, sure. And the feeling I have is like, if you've ever done coke and been up all night, the sun's coming up, the coke's gone, you gotta sleep, you can't. That's how I feel every minute. I feel like that every minute when I'm out in public. It's
crazy.
I wish I could say I've been there. I wish I could say I wasn't there.
Well, but you can relate to that.
Yeah.
So everything feels like you died and nothing's real. And it sucks. That sucks part of it.
So
well, going back to, you have friends that like bounce back. You got, Steve kind of, hey, it's my birthday, the hardest thing I think, whether you've gone through the extreme of you or you're in my position where I could have, should have, would have been there, and you try to backpedal those decisions, and that kind of eats me up too,
Yeah, see, I learned a long time ago not to do that.
Not eat me up, but it's like, it makes you kind of wonder, why, and how, what can I learn from where I'm at? It's just so
I'll
wild.
tell you what you learn from what I learned from life. Trust your instincts. They're always right.
100%.
When I was really little, we had little kittens, and there was a dog that was sticking, he was a pit bull, he was sticking his nose through the fence. And my mom goes, you have to trust your instincts. And I go, she was like kung fu. I go, what do you mean? She goes, watch. She took a little newborn kitten and put it up by the dog's nose. The dog went, rah, the cat was scratching his nose. She goes, that's instinct. That cat doesn't know what a dog is. It knows instinctively that it's going to die. And so it protects itself. Instincts are everything. So this is important. And I have close ties, but as a matter of fact, it's weird. I was contacted, and just on a random thing, I was contacted a couple months back by the FBI and Department of Justice. And they're like, the Indonesian government wants to compensate you. I'm all, really? Oh yeah, because I heard the Aussies got, their government, their family, or they survived that. They were, given help. And I go, oh, okay, cool.
Sure.
Anyway,
this is recently?
Yeah, this is a few months back.
Sure.
And so I go, okay, so I'm dealing with, like, I'm going on Zoom, and I got FBI, Department of Justice, Indonesian government, Indonesian FBI, all popping up on this thing. And they ended up giving me 14 grand. It was something. I go, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But they were so sweet, and they're like, thank you, because, like I said, I went to court against this monster. And when I faked,
how far after?
10 years ago, I was contacted, and they said, hey, we caught Umar Patek in Abbottabad, Pakistan, right down the street from where Bin Laden was.
Crazy.
Kind of fishy. But they said, we'd really, there's an opportunity for you to go and get some closure, go to court.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it, and I'm sitting there talking personally to the FBI. I go, and they're going, well, you know what? You're going to be protected, basically like an ambassador. You're going to be, we're going to really, we've already practiced this thing.
So you went all the way back to Bali.
I went to Jakarta.
Jakarta, sitting in a
I went to Jakarta to court, and
did you bill the FBI and the Department of Justice for a boat trip in correlation with this trip?
Did you mix business
no,
with pleasure?
no. The deal I worked out was, I said, I'll go.
If I could stand, can't do it.
No, if I can go to Bali and go to Ground Zero.
Yeah.
Before, and they're like, well, you can go after. I go, I'm not gonna go after. My name's gonna be all over the news.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go have Al Qaeda kill me when I go back to the monument.
Yeah.
So I worked out that deal. I went to Bali and surfed Ulu, and was able to squeeze through the fence. Did you see? Oh, you had to see how they got chained up in old bicycles and broken bottles in there. And I was able to squeeze through the fence. I went in there and stood like at ground zero and went to the monument.
We took our family, our kids, I don't know, it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and we went and took photos in front of the monument and memorial and said, you know, our names could have been on this, you know, kind of explained it. They're, you know, the older ones kind of understood it a little bit, but our little ones are like, didn't really. So it was kind of, I mean, it's intense for us to do that, but to, you know, revisit and you know, I've been there since then, the bombing with myself, but my wife hasn't been back, you know, since that visit with our kids, like, you know, like 15 years later, 16, something like that. It was wild.
I went and faced that guy though, face to face, and basically told him I'm the ghost of your countrymen.
Yeah.
I'm the ghost of your past. And
so he got put away.
got 20 years. I just got contacted about 2 weeks ago from the DOJ/FBI. They said basically Indonesian government's gonna release him.
So crazy.
They're gonna release him after 10 years. And he killed 202 people and maimed all those people. So then I dealt with just on an important thing to help others.
Yeah.
Which I've really hounded the Department of Justice on, because I think there's like 68 soldiers that blow their fucking heads off every day and commit suicide because they're so
PTSD,
sad and they're so sickened.
Oh, we just got sandbagged by the other J.
What are you doing, bro?
I just had to go to Mouse Graphics, so I thought I'd pick up a bunch of posters and stop right here and have a look.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, I mean, going back to the,
I was telling I was talking to a psychiatrist guy. He was, you know, just an ex-Navy SEAL guy. He was, you know, just going to talk to him and just kind of air your thing out. He wasn't doing much for me, you know. And I liked him. It was good. And I was talking to him for a while. And he goes, you know, I just got a real job. I can't talk to you anymore, because he was like an intern, and so that's their deal. They can't have any contact with you after they go to become a real psychiatrist. He goes, but I've got this girl. She's a surfer. She's like 28, and she does a treatment called EMDR.
EMDR.
Look it up. It's crazy. And I went and I go, okay, sure. You know, I'll talk to her. And I did like 25 or 30 treatments, and I've never seen a shrink since. It's been about 7 years. She healed me like 90%.
wow.
And what it does is it brings you back to every single traumatic. She goes, you know what a Rolodex is? And I go, yeah. She goes, all your harms that have happened in your life, imagine they're in a Rolodex. It'll just open to a page of trauma, and you'll go through it. And then it's a healing process.
Crazy.
And so I went through those treatments, and it really did work. It really did work. It was amazing.
Well, that needs to be spoken about, because there's a lot of people that don't have resources or maybe don't know about that type of, you know, help, you know? So, I mean, anytime you could kind of, and not one size fits all type of thing, you know, so different therapies work for different people, but like just to get them exposed and be like, hey, if this didn't work or this didn't work, like there's also this, you know?
What is is it a therapy?
It's a therapy. It's
an eye movement
See?
decentralization of processing, a psychotherapy treatment that is originated and designed to alleviate stress and associated with traumatic memories. So it seems like it's just a different approach to maybe some of the
do like
She
traditional
does like a tap. No, she does like a tapping, and then and then you. She was so good at it.
It's like almost like a hypnotist.
But it brings you back to each item exactly as it happened. It's like say the item is a big swollen balloon of misery.
Yeah.
It just deflates it.
Yeah.
and it's the only thing I've known that works.
Can we pause for 1 second?
Yeah, we want
I
to.
want to say thank you to
Our
Jay Lewis,
sponsor.
What's up, brother? Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Steve. How you doing?
Outpost Kitchen.
This is
So
Jay.
are you the one that I just did the painting for?
Yeah, apparently.
Did
Yeah.
you see it? Go take a look at the damn thing.
It's pretty sick, right?
Yeah.
That's a 100-year-old.
That's a 100-year-old frame.
No way.
Yeah.
100 years.
Yep. I got it at the Salvation Army. It's like this. It was from an estate, and that's just for allowing us to
Yeah,
be
of course. Thank you.
It's a beautiful piece. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
And,
That'll fit in well.
that's what I do. You know, I do paintings. I got them all over the place.
That's
I
not
meet
all he
people.
does.
I meet people. I
This
do a lot
dude's
of
been
stuff.
he's a musician for
No, you just got to listen
like
to the
4 or
podcast.
5 different.
Don't
It's a little lumpy,
Yeah.
though. It's a little lumpy. I'm
Yeah.
a little lumpy. My brain's not all that good anymore.
He
I
needs-
love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes. I was also in the Bali Bombing.
Yeah.
You shit, you were.
I was the only one that lived in the SAR club.
Oh shit.
So I was sitting about that close to the Mitsubishi when it blew up.
Yeah. So we were just wrapping that up, and we're talking about therapy and life after.
EMDR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. I've never seen a shrink since. And people I remember being interviewed by my shrink, and he goes, man, you got a worse past than Jeffrey Dahmer. I go, yeah, but I'm not.
I mean,
I had
Just
my
see-
18th birthday and my 21st birthday in Surrey Club.
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of.
18th and 21st birthday. 18th was with the boys, 21st my parents were in Surrey Club as well. So
shit.
And then a year later, it went down. Maybe a year or two. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
So if you've been
There's
in the
been
SAR,
many times of nights.
if you've been in the SAR club, then you know right when you walk into the right, the little skinny area between the bar,
Yeah.
the corner of the bar closest to the wall is where we were
Oh wow.
when the
Yeah.
bomb went off.
Yeah.
So it was like right next to us.
Yeah.
It's
Actually,
crazy.
right on that alleyway right there. If you're in the corner, what's that? Poppies right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, right. You would have
Right
been right there on Lake Street, Poppies. Yeah.
So sketchy.
Yeah, it was a little bit. I'm still, it still sucks. It's still full of shit.
I know it doesn't go away. I was on the Rip Curl boat when it sank in the
Oh yeah,
Mattel.
I was, yeah, my buddy next door. Yeah,
Yeah, Sean.
Sean, not Chuck. Yeah. No,
Sean
I
McLaughlin.
surfed with him forever, and he told me that story. I was like, God damn, man, that's, life can get tough, man. You gotta be ready for anything.
Yeah, that was a wild adventure. But yeah, I love
And
it.
we never got to finish
I
that
mean,
story
never got to finish
because I
it.
blacked out here. I passed out. We were doing his interview here.
How'd you black out?
Too much drinking.
Really?
He's a lightweight.
Damn, not me, man.
I'm late night.
That's what
Late
loves-
night with lightweight.
No, dude. Okay, we
You
did
guys
a
should
we
be
did
able
a
to share,
food
right?
tasting and alcohol tasting
Yeah.
because he's opening up his other
Yeah. Good, yeah. Get in there.
his new restaurant off
Yeah.
of Bristol,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Oh, I've got
he had a food tasting, and we were here from 4:30 in the afternoon till like 11 at night, eating and drinking. So
Really?
that's what happened.
Jack
Yeah.
up his own though.
I was just gonna say, like,
I gotta make a quick call to this young lady. She's tripping on.
I was okay.
You were not okay. You were hammered.
I was hammered.
You guys, you don't want to drink with me, man.
I wasn't blacking out.
I get people that are falling, puking on the floor. I'm going, let's go. I'm Irish, for God's sake. No. Hi, man.
Yeah.
I'm still here with these young bucks.
We're gonna wrap it up.
We're almost
We're
done.
almost wrapped up. We're all over the place with this thing, but it's been fun.
It's been awesome,
We're gonna
right?
finish up on the art and
Okay.
what you're
Yeah.
doing now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. When are you leaving?
So I was on my honeymoon
Oh, so I'm supposed to get it.
a block away from the bombing.
Oh God.
Just
All right, I'll
chit-chatting
see you
about
later.
Dude, he was in the epicenter.
He was there,
I was 20 feet away from the bomb.
and
I got
I
the,
should have been
At the
there.
same time?
I was there, just outside the perimeter,
where is that?
not there because it was at 11 and not 12.
See this right here? There's
So
the bomb
heavy.
right. We were right there.
Yeah. That's right.
And the poppy. I saw the first blast. Heard the screaming. This guy. This guy blew himself up first, and then about 15 seconds later, this one. I was looking at the tiles. I'm like, dear God, man. It's heavy.
Yeah,
This is the actual first and second blast. Have you seen this photo?
No.
Heavy, huh?
Mental.
So
I
fucking.
got some crazy stuff from. There's inside the club right there. Pretty.
That's heavy. That's
I went through all these body parts looking for my friend. When I was to Shangri-La Hospital, look at this shit, bra strap. Fucking evil, man. Bastards.
Evil. Straight up evil.
Yeah.
So let's
end on a good note.
let's end on a good note. Crabby is not only is he an accomplished musician with like 4 or 5 bands,
Yeah.
he's also an artist, and we've been gifted some fucking pretty cool.
That's pure love too. And I thought about you. I go, this fucking Ozzy, man, he's got to get one. And so that one is so good. Dude, you know how many people try to buy that for me? I go, I'm going to give that to the perfect person.
Wow, actually, I'm stoked.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I don't know why the Aussie gets this like.
I know, that's a
friend.
dude, because he's an old soul. And he's probably pretty glad he's out of Australia right now. What's going on over there right now?
So what's Crabby doing these days? Besides
I'm
art,
producing music. I just finished writing my movie script, and it's amazing. It's fucking mind blowing. I'm not going to drop names, but I had a big time Australian actor that was really interested in this, and the guy I was writing with didn't deliver on time, and he said, and I won't drop a name, but it's a big guy. And I've had a lot of interest in it and gotten really close.
Two Australian actors.
You know which one's a surfer. One of them's a surfer. Yeah.
Me too.
And
Can you tell us the name of the?
There's a lot of Australian actors there.
There are.
It's like,
Definitely.
oh, I didn't know AC/DC was Australian. What the?
Are you kidding me? Just like the chats. I love the chats. That's kind of so amazing. Anyway, say what?
The title.
The title of the movie?
Yeah.
Voices in the Fire.
So
We're looking to write a book right now too. I just finished the script. I'll show you guys and verify what I'm talking about. Full of shit.
So you wrote a screenplay for it.
Yeah, it's done.
Voices.
I'm looking to write a book. I'm looking to write a book right now.
Back up.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing, but whatever. Doesn't hurt, does
Well,
it?
that was clever.
Follow your career.
This guy's an artist.
Oh God, that's so.
Is that you almost barrel dodging over there?
Oh, I've done some barrel dodging. Here it
This
is.
guy's an artist right here.
Here it is, right here. Voices in the Fire, written by Steve Crabby Callett, based on true events. My opening line is, "Your darkest hour will shine a light on your true friends. You shined on that a little bit. I found out who was real when I was laying there bleeding out of my ass, fucking dying in my bed.
Wow.
People came and fucking helped me."
I think you're yeah. You're whether you say intuition or gut instinct or first all the different cliches of like going with that feeling.
Instinct. All instinct. Yeah.
100% true. And if that's one thing you could kind of embed in people's mind is, and it could be from taking a test at school, as remedial as like that is, like, I don't know, question, like what the first question that popped, usually it's the right one, and as far as something more serious, to something that's like life change, like
I knew something bad was gonna happen. I knew it.
you gotta go and trust that. And I think the more you can kind of tap into that, the more successful in life you'll be, and not just in survival, but just in everything.
Wasn't there
Work,
something
business,
that you wanted
like,
to say
intuition.
as advice at the end?
Instinct.
I'm saying the EMDR treatment. I think that would be my advice, because I really worry about a lot of the soldiers that got tricked in these shitty fucking wars. They're all amputees, and all the government's just going, how'd that work out for you? Let them just blow their brain. Have you seen the biggest trend is all these American soldiers are shooting themselves in the vet parking lot and leaving notes because they're not helping them.
No.
There's no use for them anymore. All the fake wars, all the bullshit. So it makes me really wonder what was really going on over there in that bombing. I don't know what the hell was really going on. The night before, I was at the Bounty, I was with a German girl who didn't speak English, and beautiful girl. And 4 of these guys came up, Patek, one with the bomber, and the 3 other guys, smiling bomber. All those guys came up, spit in my face, and they said, "Fuck you, fuck America, fuck George Bush. We have family in Iraq and Afghanistan. Why do you want to kill Saddam Hussein?" They said that in October, 6 months before Bush bombed and killed all those innocent people in Iraq. They knew, and they blew us up first. And that's why they came up to me personally. And now I'm not trying to, there was only a few Americans. We were there in October. There's no, usually the tourist season's over for Americans. There's only a few of us there, mostly Aussies.
Yeah, that's what was really odd is the time of the night they did it, the time of the year they did it, and everything. And maybe they were just under pressure and they thought it was a little bit easier when it's not as
I heard they
congested.
wanted to do it on the 11th for some reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever heard, I saw somebody sent me pictures of flyers where it was like a date and it was like a mock dance club with an explosion going off on that date. Did you see that?
No.
Did you see that?
Yeah, so there was a lot of, as you probably know, a lot of Australian football teams.
They were in there too. The same night.
Because it's the end of their season.
Basically, like your Lakers.
Yeah, so they go to
That's what I was
Bali
saying.
and they party, and there was North Melbourne football team at Surrey Club, and a lot of them died on that night. But yeah,
That's what I was telling you. Somebody was telling me because I was getting calls from Australia. People are like, hey, like one of the footy teams was just like the Lakers, like the equivalent of fucking Lakers were there, and these are big fucking badass dudes. It's tough. That was tough to survive that thing, man. It was fucking tough. Took everything in my power.
Yeah.
And then to heal from it, took everything more in my power.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we're going to end
Yeah.
this interview on a positive note. Because
Yeah, it's a
you
little
persevered through.
You guys, listen. You have to remember something. I don't hear good. I have a lot of glitches in my brain, so I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
And I can't help it.
Yeah.
It's just the way I am.
Oh, dude, we were stoked and honored to hear every detail.
I hope it. I mean, you guys cut shit as much.
We don't do that. We
fucking print it.
Inspire and then continuing
We print
on,
it.
like
You
creating.
guys, I really want you to keep those for
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
Dude.
Oh yeah,
Dude, we're fucking.
it's going in my office.
I have such a crazy level of PTSD. I hate the night. My girlfriend goes to sleep. I can't even be in bed with her. I have to sleep on the couch because I'm fucking up. I can't. I'm like charged awake. I'm 62 and I can run through a fucking wall still. And so I paint all night. And so my paintings, if I don't sell them, I'm giving them. I'm just putting them.
Stay
and
busy.
they're everywhere. I turn around. They're in Canada. They're in Spain. They're in fucking Nicaragua. It's so amazing. They're in Australia. I got paintings in Australia, Hawaii, all over the fucking world.
And you're still
That's my
creating.
gift.
You move.
That's my gift.
And you're still creating music, right? You're gonna
I
play
just
tomorrow
played-
night, right?
I just played you. I just played one here. One of my songs.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
play
in on
tomorrow
that.
night, right?
It's in on that. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm playing tomorrow night. You guys, if you're gonna print this enough time, you can maybe throw that out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna launch it tomorrow morning. So
I do.
So where are you playing tomorrow night?
We're playing at a little club called Surf Dogs.
So sick.
We're playing at Surf Dogs in Huntington Beach on Springfield and Warner with some old school punk bands. I dress up like a freaking monster.
Springdale and Warner.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
What time?
We go on at 9:30 and we play everything from Black Flag to Bob Marley. We just get up there. And I'm called Anton Shadows. I'll show you. It's funny, man. It's super funny.
What's your
Check it out, Pascal Shadows and the Impalers. Here's a song we just recorded in our garage. And
while he's playing
are
that-
you familiar with
Thank you, Ashton.
with Motorhead?
Thank you.
Here's Anton Shadows doing
Villager.
Are we ready
Just
for Ace of
Live.
Spades yet?
Just live.
Just Live CBD, Bonsai Bowls.
Bonsai Bowl.
Yeah, these are parting gifts for being on the podcast.
And Jay Lewis at
Shade
Outpost
sunscreen, so you don't
Kitchen.
fucking, burn your nose.
I like this. I wish you had some that didn't get me high that let
Hey,
me sleep.
You got
yeah.
you got your own truck.
The Rolling Stones. I love the fucking Stones, mate. I love that. I love that, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you guys, you ain't gonna never get anybody that's gonna come in and give you that love like that.
We love it.
No, dude, this is amazing.
Let's hear Ace of Spades, shall we?
Let's hear it.
Anton Shadows and the Fabulous Impalers with their own version of Ace of Spades. Now, if I get it to play, hold it. Can't hear it. Oh, man. Oh, guys, I blew it.
One more time. One more time.
I don't share your greed. Only card I need. The Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. Ah!
And we're out.
Tomorrow night.
Anton Shadows and the Fabulous Impalers with Circle One, American made at Surf Dog Saloon Bar and Grill in Huntington Beach on Water in Springdale. Be there! And listen to Anton Shadows and the Fabulous Impalers tomorrow night. Be there!
And we're out. Dude.